What's your favorite scary movie?
This is Halloween Town.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Beetlejuice.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
You know, if you want to do something really cool, draw me a picture of Tiger Woods.
I don't like Denny's that much.
And with that, welcome everyone to this episode of the Cheap Seats Critics, where we're back into the spooky season. But we're doing a whole thing.
Made it.
This week we're covering The Little Vampire from the year 2000. With me today we have...
Hello, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Sprinks. And hey, if you're listening from Scotland, I forget where exactly they are in Scotland, but from Scotland, yeah, Scotland forever. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitter. Okay, it's Twitter. Blueski. We also have LetterBoxd, where you have our average numbers and graphs of whatever it is we've covered. We have a visual side of things over on YouTube and Rumble, but hey, maybe that's not your cup of tea. Don't worry, there's plenty of audio platforms out there as well where you could listen to us from where you might be listening to us now.
Exactly. Yeah, and as mentioned, we're doing The Little Vampire. Tis the season and all. More Halloween picks. Continue our trends.
Tis the season isn't really incorporated with other holidays, is it? Or is it universal?
No, I think it's universal. It's usually only utilized for like Christmas, but it's universal.
Okay, I'm just curious. Like when July comes around and people, the red, white, and blue, do they go, "'Tis the season"?
I mean, having been in a family of Marines, it absolutely is the season. They stock up. The beer canister just grows twice its size.
Well, true. I just meant the phrase.
It is more common in one particular holiday, but it is universal.
That is how I would phrase it as well.
Yeah. So let's start with histories, and we'll go with Sprinks first.
Oh boy. My grandpa lived out in the countryside a long time ago, and kind of not exactly in the middle of nowhere, but very, just country land. So when I went up to visit him, my older cousins I had would have VHSs of a complete random assortment of movies, and I was kind of the younger cousin, so I wasn't around the time to pick the movies. It was just they were just there, and I could watch. Little Vampire was one of them, and I remember watching it up in the country, and that might be the last time I watched this movie. So that was probably over 15 to 20 years ago. But I have seen the movie. Yeah, but I probably saw the movie at least 5 to 10 times.
I will go next. I will say this is a childhood film. I've probably seen it 8 to 10 times. I did see it twice this past week. Because I showed it to someone else before doing it for the podcast. And yeah, I don't really have any story with any VHSs. I only picked it up when it was on TV, so I never owned it. Let's go with Ryder next.
Oh, so the last 2 times you saw it this week, you had to find it on TV.
Okay, fine. The other times,
Gotcha.
Minus the past two. Past two, I seeked it out because it's on YouTube right now for free. The free movies thing. All right, Ryder.
All right. I mean, my history is long and elaborate, and proof that it is long and elaborate is the fact that I asked, I think, Sprinks, which movie it was.
Yes, that's true. You had to ask for clarification.
Because there was an animated film apparently, and I wasn't sure which one was being referred to, so had to ask. Never seen it before. Never went on my way to watch it before. Never heard of it before. So I'm a green boot, as they say.
Wonderful. I guess I will jump into the facts section. I will start with the budget of this film being approximately 35 million USD and a box office of 28 million. So it was a bust. It lost money.
Shocking.
I can't tell. I don't know if I'm relieved or if I'm
Sorry,
sad.
I'm just speaking the truth.
Truth. There is a sequel in the works for the animated one. Little Vampire 3D is getting a sequel. Little Vampire 3D, since someone was curious about it, is a reboot, remake, whatever. It's not connected to this. It's not a sequel or anything. It's just a retelling of the story, but animated.
And when did that one come out?
I didn't write that down.
I'm like, if it's a retelling of this.
All right, I had that quick.
2017. Okay. Quite a long time for a sequel, but okay. But then again, with today's day and age of like Top Gun sequel, Beetlejuice sequel, it's like things go a long time.
Devil Wears Prada, Practical Magic, everything's getting a sequel.
Ooh.
You get a sequel. You get a sequel. You get a remake.
He says as he's waiting for season 2 to be announced for something right now.
There's not that many.
Oh, facts. Firefly. Good luck.
No, not really Firefly. Yeah. The other good sci-fi that only had one season.
A lot of those. All right, let's see what's good. The facts. So I don't have that many, so it should be pretty short. Jonathan Lipnicki, which was our main character here,
Tony.
Of Tony, got injured in his harness from one of the harness scenes of him flying. I could not find any specific injury, if it was like a back or arm or anything. It's just he said he got injured on set during a flying harness scene. So there's that. I never picked up that he got hurt in the movie. So I guess good acting on his part.
Well,
wow.
Jim Carter, which is Rockery or whatever his name was, the bounty hunter, vampire Rookery, the vampire hunter, and Alice Krieg, Frida, the mother vampire, reprised their roles for Vampire 3D for the voice acting, which is just weird to me. All those years later, for a reboot thing, they got their roles back.
Little odd, but then again, what are they doing today? I think the guy who plays Rookery is in Downton Abbey. These all just seem like I recognize some actors, but they all feel like actors from my childhood. Like before, I don't know where they went after 2010, kind of thing. Like Rookery, I recognized him. He was from Ella Enchanted. I think the last thing I saw him in was Wonka, and I was surprised he was in that.
Oh yeah, Rookery was
the actress who plays Susan from Narnia. She's the sister vampire. And then the dad is the dad vampire was oh gosh, he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, I love Grant. He is so charming in like anything. I hate the movie, but I actually liked him in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah,
terrible movie. And the last fact: the family name Sackville Bag in this film is a reference to J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Bilbo and Frodo Baggins are related to the Sackville Bagginesses or whatever.
Yeah, gotta avoid the Sackville Baggins. That they're the hobbits that constantly annoy our main characters in Hobbiton.
There you go.
So yes, I did pick up that reference. It wasn't exactly
I am not at home. Great, what a connection.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anything else before we jump into the coverage, fellas?
I just damaged my subjective. Let me note that down. Hold
on. No, I do not have any other facts of this movie. Other than I don't know if Rollo Weeks, who played Rudolph, did anything else after this. I don't recognize him from anything.
He was in not many films afterwards. He went on to be a businessman and opened up a fast food chain in England somewhere. So he's a businessman now. He's not an actor.
That is quite a fact.
Yeah. I'm glad I read that up earlier. Didn't expect it to get asked. All right. So we are doing 3 act structure for this one. We can jump around within the acts, and Act 1 consists of the very beginning of the film to when the vampire family arrives in the cemetery in bat form. We are not discussing their actual interactions at the cemetery. That will be for Act 2. So let's start with a writer.
Sure. I have no idea what the fuck happened in the first like confrontation between the descendant vampire hunter when he runs into the Sackville bags. When I say Star Trek, like classic Trek has better choreography, that's not a good thing.
No, they cover it up with extremely
Cuts
low
everywhere.
Dutch angles and the most artificial lightning ever.
Yeah, it
Cuts,
wasn't.
lightning, extreme close-ups where you can't tell what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened. So all I know is that the stone was lost, which I guess is the point of the scene. But
Yeah,
It
got
felt
knocked out of his hand.
yeah,
it felt very made for Disney Channel.
yeah, I guess that's a way to phrase it. I will say that the only thing that I think I liked about the scene is we get learned about Grant's character, Frederick, I think his name is.
Yeah.
And we see that he can fight. So it'll be interesting to see how they can carry that forward into the film, you know?
Yeah, like not just stand still all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
300 years can do something to someone, all right?
Really tucker you out. Just eating cow blood really drains you, you know.
300 years can really give you a stiff in the neck.
Yeah. So I guess that's my bid. The transition from the dream sequence to the revelation of our main character waking up. I think I enjoyed that with the bed kind of floating on the water.
Slumberland.
Yeah.
Who would have
I,
thought?
I didn't see Jason Momoa.
I didn't see the 3 dubs.
Waffles. That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, it was
Waffles.
women, waffles, and something.
Whiskey.
Women,
One is
waffles, and
waffles
whiskey.
and whiskey. I think.
I don't know.
That sounds
Hopefully
right.
I'm not getting confused with the 4 food groups from Atlantis.
I don't know. That was
Beans,
like 2
bacon,
years
whiskey, and
ago.
lard.
Something. All right. Sprinks.
Cool. I'll go to an overarching one that it just affects the entire movie for me. This movie has such heinous ADR. The entire film.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually gonna
too much to
I'm
ignore.
gonna tack on to that real quick. It feels like the direction for the kids on set was trying to get them from place to place in a timely manner, and then they recorded their lines ADR.
Or like the
Kind of.
transitions of to flying somewhere or something.
Well,
I mean, there's a scene where
no, even more than
Tony,
that, just like them,
his mouth's not even moving.
yeah, just like
and he's
them
talking.
walking across a room is kind of what I mean. Like it feels like the direction it was just all physical while the kids were on set, and then they recorded their lines ADR.
Do you think the kids like couldn't memorize their lines
It's possible.
and they kept tripping up? So then they did it in like a booth where they could read it.
Yeah, maybe. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what they did, but that's kind of what it came across to me as, because a lot of this the bad ADR for me is just when a kid is moving from place to place on screen, and it's just simple like moving down the hall or something like that.
True, but that's usually covered up with like showing the back of the actor or like shadowy parts so you can't see the facial expressions or movements and everything. But
Yeah, I mean,
this
like,
movie is very much like, oh, this is the person's face, and
yeah,
their mouth does not fit.
yeah. Well, even in the scenes where they do that, Sprinks, like their back is to the camera, and we hear their voice. The ADR is still bad. Like it's still very obviously ADR.
Yeah, like it doesn't match the setting of the room.
Yeah, so that's just like a big thing for me on this film.
Yeah, can't Can't argue with it too much on that one. In terms of the dream where he's in the bed in the ocean, I was just thinking why he has that perspective. 'Cause I feel like all of his other visions, I guess this is overarching, his other visions, he's not in them. He's just seeing the world. But in the opening dream, he's in the world.
I think that is just for the audience perspective to show that Tony can see things and to give like a hook of confusion to start, like, why is a kid just in the ocean? But I think the other visions don't need to show Tony. We're just seeing it through his eyes.
Guess that can be a workaround for it.
I mean,
I don't think they convey that very well, though.
how I'm thinking of it right now is that both of the other ones are visions, not necessarily dreams. I would make the
But
distinction.
isn't his dream a vision?
Yeah. Also, Tony explaining that he saw the amulet and the comet beam and the hunter attack and everything to when the guy jumps off the cliff. If it's all being seen from the
see
ocean,
it.
he can't see any of it. But he explains he saw it, so that kind of shows that it either moved or
My only
Actually, yeah,
other
that's
my
kinda
only other
weird.
thought is he's like where the amulet fell into the ocean, I guess. So at least that's why the visual is there.
true, but that's
Yeah.
only at the end bit
Yeah.
of the vision dream.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have an issue with that then. Him being set in the ocean and still seeing everything without us seeing a different POV of him in that scene. Let's go with a
Yeah.
writer point.
Right. Um, I it was just kind of for me it was kind of a funny like gag, just the way Tony fell over running into his parents' room, and that's what woke the parents up, not him running in through the door. It's just him flopping onto the floor. And I like how he didn't like immediately react either. He was just laid there. He just accepted that he fell over.
Well, that's what the director told him
Yeah.
to do in the scene.
Yeah.
I want you to trip and just lay there.
I mean, like I said, the comedy beat it worked for me. It was just small, but I enjoyed it. Even though obviously I don't think that's how a kid would react. They'd probably start crying, having smashed their face into the floor.
Yeah. I like Tony's parents in this film. They kind of actually do feel like parents. The bickering whose turn it is, and the father kind of getting tired of doing stuff for him, but also being there for him at the same time.
Yeah,
Fun.
the parents
Give
felt
some
like
realism.
people.
Yeah. Bob. Bob and Dottie. Sprinks, you can have.
How old is Tony? Is he 9? I think they say it once.
I think it's 9. I don't. Wait.
Okay.
No, 8. 8.
He's
I have it
8.
written down. He's 8.
Ooh, that's even better for my cause here. They are not from Scotland. They're from San Diego, so they're American. Is an 8-year-old old enough to be sitting in the front seat of a car?
I don't know the laws in Scotland for that. I'm sure they're probably different than in America.
It didn't look safe, and it wasn't just like a 2-seater car. They had a back seat. So maybe question, why is he in the front seat? Also, the mom's car, I think the first one, like the white car, is only used for that one scene, and then it's in the truck the rest of the movie. So I don't know where that car went.
The garage? I don't know. So I'll chop it up to I don't know the laws in Scotland, but in America, yeah, you couldn't have them up front at 8.
Yeah. I think just
And obviously,
being that
for
they're
film,
American,
Mhm.
I feel like they wouldn't have him in the front seat.
probably not.
I just feel like with the sense, because it's not just a one-time thing, and it's like they show him in the front seat a couple times, that it should be a line or something like all right, Tony, get in the car. And he's like, the front seat. And they're like, yeah, it's different here in Scotland. You'll love it here, or something like that.
I'd say it would strengthen it, but I don't know if it's technically required. Kind of on the fence about it, because naturally the American side would be like, all right, we know it's dangerous, that's why it's a law in America. But
Yeah.
they seem
But
to
I also
be accepting the culture here in Scotland too. So
Yeah, but I thought it was also to do with height. You have to be a certain height. And Tony's not a
Yeah.
tall kid.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want the kid to slip out and hit the dashboard. That's kind of the whole point. And for the airbag to actually hit them correctly.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I have it listed as a nitpick.
Something that I don't believe they stick with, I guess another overarching point, is when Rudolph goes into his room and then transforms in the fireplace, you get this bright white light from transforming from a bat to a human. I don't think that bright light happens every time they turn into a human.
Yeah, it's only
Or
for
vampire,
Rudolph because
whatever.
Rudolph's young. I guess.
He's inexperienced with his 300 years.
Yeah.
He's injured. It's the injured light.
It's the injured light. Yeah.
I just looked it up.
So
just
that was
for
just an
fun. So this is actually going to sound very contradictory, which confused me. A child can sit in the front seat with a booster from their 3rd birthday, but it's only legal when they reach their 12th birthday or they reach 135 centimeters when they can come out of the booster seat. So I guess they can do it, but
is that for
But booster seat
Scotland,
is for height.
yeah.
Is that a Scotland one or a American one?
That's a UK one. I just think UK in general.
Yeah, they're probably similar. So, I mean, if we're going with that, then yeah, it's not correct because he's not in a booster. It's just him.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my take on that scene is much more simple. It's just I think they just did it for the visual.
True, they didn't
Yeah,
want to block him with a back seat,
Easier. Yeah.
but still safety concern.
Writer?
Yeah, Is it an issue that Tony doesn't talk to his parents about being bullied at school?
No.
Why?
It really depends on the kid, and every kid works differently. And
yeah, I know. That's why I'm kind of where I am. He seems to be close with his parents. That's why I'm questioning it a little bit. It's more of a
this kid's character to tell them.
I also slightly see that this is new. It hasn't been. I don't know if this is his first day of school, but
it's implied.
I think if it
not
was
to be his
prolonged,
first day of school. That's kind of, I guess, my problem with it. Is if they made it more explicit that this was his first day, I think I would have less of an issue. Even though it's still weird that the kids just happened to pick out the one American kid, I guess.
It's not their accent.
and the accents was fishy for me.
the two kids, the bully
The
accents.
nanny's the only Scottish person in this movie who I'm like, that's a fine accent.
Can't understand what they're saying? Perfect. That's a good accent. I agree. That's exactly what the Scottish person sounds
The
like.
bullies, the teacher, Lord McCashton, like, I couldn't tell if they're American actors putting on accents or if they're actually Scottish.
I think they're Brits. I don't know if they're Scottish.
Okay, I know Rookery's a British actor.
That teacher. Guess I'll bring him up. But I don't get the whole scene of him yelling out, Tony's obsessed with vampires. Everybody in the whole event turns their heads.
Yeah.
Okay, not at the school, but at the
Not
party.
at the school, but at the event. Yeah.
Yeah, that was staged.
Yeah, that was
That felt so
absurd.
fake.
That was absurd.
It felt very fake.
It
And
broke.
he had a
And the
smile.
mom.
It pulled me
and-
right out of the movie. It made no sense. And I think it was doubly worse because it was kind of implied that mom was going to get a drink, and then she kind of teleported with the drink in hand. So you can kind of imply what happened, that she went to go get a drink. It was too much happening at once, you know?
And he just seemed so eager to talk to her about the vampires.
That
He
is
seemed
forced.
all giddy. Yes, very forced. That the teacher is at this
Happens to
Mick
be at an upper class party or
McAsh.
whatever.
That's
Ashton Gala
okay.
event.
Teacher could be friends with Lord Cashton, or he's the teacher of his kids, and there could be some connection there that's just off screen. But the placement of the teacher and the mom, and how he acts to her, and the sense of the scene is just forced.
Yeah, and I do like how she picks up that the grandkids are twerps. Ponies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bob just kissing rear ends.
But he wants to make a good golf course.
He does. Writer.
I will jump to. Okay, well, I kind of like it's a quick juxtaposition between, like, yeah, you're making friends, to him being thrown on the ground and bullied while all the kids yell fight around him. It wasn't funny, but it had a comedic beat to it. The juxtaposition cut.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have the juxtaposition to it.
Yeah. I don't think the teacher's a good teacher, from what I
No.
see. But I guess my issue is that more with the fact that I don't know why he didn't try to get the class back on course. Like, he entertained what Tony was saying.
No, this is a lot of teachers and early movies where it's fixated on the character of, like, the main character's problem. It reminded me of, like, well, it's a lot older, but like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where picking on Charlie for only getting 2 chocolate bars, or something like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, just yelling at the main kid. Just kind of those scenes where it just breaks the learning lesson. It doesn't feel like a normal teacher situation.
Yeah. And mind you, granted, I don't need the teacher to be, like, great or anything. It could still be a bad teacher, but it broke, I guess, the immersion of this supposed to be school, I guess.
Yeah, they turned the teacher into a third bully.
Yes. It's essentially what they did. He entertained his vampire talk to get more comedy out of his students and himself, I guess. More material.
To then just punish Tony.
Drop a chair in the hole. Yeah.
That sounded a little better than what he sounded like.
I'll take the compliment. Sprinks.
At 8:12, when Rookery's in his truck sleeping, there's just an odd cut to a sunrise. I just think it was placed weird.
No, didn't get that reference.
Well,
Yeah, I did. I got the reference. Didn't come across that way.
it's the setup that it's time to work. It's night's coming. That's the time of vampires. He has his alarm set for 8:10 p.m.
Tell you
No,
what,
I
though,
get.
Buffy
No,
was.
I understand the scene or the shot of it. I don't get the editing purpose of it.
Or where would you have put it then?
Either at the beginning or the end. Not in the middle.
Is this a preference, or you think an actual issue with it?
I think an actual issue. It cuts away from a character's introduction.
I guess for me, I don't have issue with it because it adds context to his profession and what the alarm is even for. It's for sunset.
True, but you can accomplish that with before, after, and in sense of even weekly, using it as a transitional situation from previous scenes.
You can. I just think, I guess my point is, I think it's acceptable. I don't think it's the best implementation of it, but I don't think it's at its detriment.
Okay.
And that's
if I were
My thoughts on
to
it.
keep it as is, because I don't mind that it quote unquote cuts away from a character introduction. What you have to do is you have to integrate it as part of the character introduction. I think that's their intention. I think it could be done more smoothly because obviously the message is that it's time to work, as Crimson pointed out. But I think a better way to convey it would be like we're panning through his car. We kind of zoom in on the clock. We cut from the clock to the sunset, and then back to the clock when it goes off, and then the rest of the scene plays out as normal. I think that would work as a smoother way, I guess, to introduce the character, because it would then incorporate it as a part of the introduction. Does that make sense?
Yes, but that is what you described. Pretty much what happens.
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like what happened.
Is that what happened? I thought maybe I'm remembering it wrong then. Then I guess I don't have any
He's
issue.
sleeping, cuts to the sunrise, and then the clock goes off.
Okay, so my only addition would be is they focus on the clock first to
Or
show
sunset.
that time is a part of his work, I guess. I mean, I guess my version is not being far off would just be a little bit more explicit. I don't have any issues then.
Okay.
Speaking of sunrises, so we have Rudolph, who's injured after the exposure to the light
Yep, I
in
know
the
what you're getting at.
bathroom. And it's kind of dark out. It's kind of actually nighttime. And then they go to a barn that has cows, and we get this nice shot of them walking through the farm with a sunset in the background. And then I'm just thinking, that already happened. It's nighttime right now. Is it sunrise? As the whole night passed by, and then when they get to the actual barn with the cows, it's nighttime. So I guess there was two
Yes.
sunsets that night.
The shot of
Yeah.
them where they're silhouetted with the wagon, and there's a
Yes.
sunrise behind them. I went, oh, okay, it's morning. Let's hide Rudolph before he burns, and then it's night again.
Yeah,
They did
it's
it for
either
the
two
visual.
sunsets or a sunrise, or two sunrises, I guess.
Again,
Yeah,
they did it for
doesn't
the
fit.
visual.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for the visual.
I'll talk. I guess I have one more note on the teacher scene. Now, despite our criticisms of it, the teacher breaking the immersion of it being a school, I will say the scene does accomplish multiple things at once. Our protagonist can't read a room very well, and the scene makes explicit that he's told these stories before in class. And the students make fun of him for it, and the teacher kind of indulges him to a point, but after the interruption of class goes on for too long, he obviously loses patience. So what I do like about the scene, I guess, is that it does still accomplish multiple things despite my problems with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's a social outcast at this point. He doesn't have any friends. He's wrapped up in his own mind, his own thoughts. So I think I agree with you. They do accomplish stuff outside of just the teacher being a crummy teacher. I have a question. We have Rudolph in the trunk while Tony and his mom are talking on the bed, and then he lifts up the trunk a little bit. Why?
Don't know.
Because he's an idiot. Well, I mean, it's for
He's
the
not looking
audience,
at
I guess.
He's putting himself in harm's way of the sunlight from the outside, and he can already hear while in the trunk.
He's got super hearing. You could hear them arguing in the car from hundreds of feet in the air.
Well, the previous shot is Tony's swapping his pillow, so or actually not pillow. He didn't use the second pillow, which I was questioned on that, but just swaps himself in his bed and still talks to Rudolph in the trunk.
So I didn't understand the purpose of that, really, because the audience at this point knows Rudolph's there. And if not, they could just focus on the trunk, which would convey, okay, he's in there.
For me,
I think it's because they can't get a shot of a camera in the trunk.
That's probably true.
Make a fake box. I don't know if that's the limitation.
I don't know. Maybe it kind of speaks to me, that scene speaks to me, is just confirming for the audience that he's listening in, and it's definitely hand holding your audience.
Because it makes the sound when he closes it, and
I
the
know.
mom doesn't hear or address it.
Yeah,
She gets the smell.
my issue is that it introduces problems like that.
Yeah.
Because the mom is right next to it, closer to it than Tony is, so she would have heard it.
I do like having a vampire movie where the vampires actually smell dead. I don't think I've really seen that.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, quote unquote, I guess, that many vampire movies.
I've seen a fair amount in TV shows. All right, Sprinks, you got a play.
How does Rookery's radar work to pick up vampires?
Good question. I have
So
no
that-
clue.
That was something I had an issue with. I'm like, is it just a motion tracker? Because then there'd be other stuff happening. But then when he's in the tomb, he says it's specifically a vampire tracker. So I
How
guess
come
we
it
just
doesn't go off then in the third act?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
no clue.
he might have it switched on. I don't know. Is there a particular scene you're talking about for that?
His truck is stopped in the middle of the road and he has 6 vampires in front of him.
I mean, yeah, he just might not have it on. You see how many switches there are in there?
My
At this point, he doesn't really care about the vampires. He has the amulet. He just needs to get to the location.
if it's supposed to work the way that the film tries to imply it works, there is no place where the Sackville bags can hide.
True.
Because the fact
Unless
they're
the
all hiding,
range of it, but
they're all hiding in the basement of Tony's cellar, and then also hiding in the graveyard. The graveyard is more okay because I guess he would have known they were there already, but there's no reason it wouldn't have discovered them underneath Tony's cellar when he moved them, or the farm where the cows were. He would have found them earlier while it was on. So I take issues with it because it's not consistent with how it's portrayed in terms of its usage.
Does it only show up when they're in bat form? I'm trying to think if it shows up when they're not in bat form.
I can't remember.
I can only picture it when they're in bat form,
Maybe.
which is a weird distinction. And he also uses it to find a dead vampire. So that
maddeningly
doesn't really
unhelpful.
fix that. Yeah. But I guess is the biggest thing, I think, is he uses it to find a dead vampire.
Yeah, so your bad theory doesn't work.
No. In fact, I think it makes it even stronger of a vampire detector if it detects dead vampires too. Oh, yeah. Undefined technology. I mean, they even tried to make it as minimal as possible as it's a vampire detector without explaining how science of it works. And they still didn't get it right. All right, let's go with writer.
I love the scene with the two parents coming to say goodbye to Tony before they go off to the party. So the scene opens obviously with the dad like putting a golf ball towards Tony with his new gift, and that was very sweet. They again, it just kind of it was a very well written family scene.
Yeah,
The
dad trying
yeah.
to be connecting and involved, and the son knowing there's limits to it.
Yeah. The son knowing there's limits to it, but also still being grateful. Like Tony's not ungrateful for the gift his dad's giving him. You know? It's they want to rekindle their relationship. But obviously even though it is strained. So you can the love goes both ways, at least as far as the chemistry with the characters go. That's why I like the scene quite a bit.
Yeah. And something I also like with just the dialogue is with Rudolph talking to Tony about vampire life isn't a good life, because we see that Tony has a real fantasy, like, you can fly and do whatever you want, really, perspective. But it's cool having Rudolph break it down. Like, you never see the sun, flowers. There's so much you don't get to experience. Heat of the sun, all that jazz. Kind of a fun little thing to interject in a kids movie because that kind of feels a little deep.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. That's me. Well, my next note says there's bagpipes, so Crimson at least will give this movie a 2 subjective.
Bagpipes is always a win.
If all else fails, you'll at least give it points for bagpipes.
I always will. I mean, I yelled out Scotland, much to my roommate's
You
chagrin.
did. But Ryder, I think Crimson likes bagpipe music more than you do.
I do like bagpipes. But
I mean,
I don't know, right?
I'll give him that one. You know, I'll just have to play some more rock for him whenever I'm in town.
Oh boy, I believe Crimson. Did I give you a bagpipe CD for Christmas one year?
You did.
Yeah.
And Sinister got me a kid's bagpipe that doesn't work.
No, that's true.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess more of a big point. Do you think they overdo it with the use of plaid in this movie to show like, oh, we're in Scotland?
I haven't been there, so I don't know if it's an appropriate amount or not. So can't help on that one. I don't know.
Okay. I just feel like a lot of. Do you think they overuse plaid in the movie?
Plaid?
Just to kind of like demonstrate that they're in Scotland. Yeah. Because you brought up the dad talk thing, and he has this, I guess, kind of scarf belt of plaid. And I just caught my eye. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but they're in Scotland. And then I just kept noticing things like the bed sheets are plaid and the blankets plaid, and I'm like, there's just plaid throughout this movie, but I don't know if it's just Scotland plaid or if it's one of those things where the movie's like, oh, let's have this as set design to show people we're in Scotland, kind of thing.
I want to be honest, it's very accurate.
What's your answer?
Okay, I just couldn't tell if it was overdone.
Plaid everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It's oversaturating. I agree, but it is very accurate to what Scotland is. So it's not exactly. It's a true archetype. Does that make sense? I guess.
Yeah, they're not making fun of it, but they are making sure it's known. Yeah. I suppose.
Writer.
Yeah, I'll jump to my favorite quote. Is "You're full of blood. I'm gonna keep it that way, dude."
Runs off. So, yeah, that was well delivered and cut. I think they had enough pause between the cut there for that.
Yeah, it's for some behind the scenes stuff. Sprinks, that is the one quote that I wrote down.
Oh, gotcha. Tony pretending to be a vampire. Did he get ketchup all over his monkey?
Most likely, I would say yes. We don't really get a shot of the monkey after that. That's visible of the bite, but I don't know how he couldn't get it dirty. He definitely gets his sleeve dirty when he wipes it off.
Well, first off, very inconsistent with the ketchup. Keeps changing.
Yeah, it changes amounts between scenes, and it changes.
He wipes it off, and then he goes downstairs, and it's fully on his face again.
Yep.
Let's see what's good. We talked about the teacher vampire scene at the gala thing being like a forced movie thing. Thing everywhere. I'm saying thing. And another line that felt like that to me was how do you like our blimp? I'm like, okay, that's the thing you say, Lord. What's this, McAshton? That's your. How do you like our blimp? Establishing they have a blimp. Little lazy to me.
Well, yeah, that way when they're jumping on the blimp later, it's not out of the blue.
Yeah. So very lazily added. If anyone, I feel like Bob would say it. Like, don't you think it was a great idea for me to suggest this to you, Mr. Ashton? The blimp, something. I don't know. It's just weird that Ashton points that out. I think out of the two. if they were to shoehorn the blimp.
Crimson, I'm sorry to say, but you're pulling a writer because that's not his name.
Ashton.
McAshton.
McAshton. Yeah.
When you go to
Let's
McDonald's, you order
see.
the McAshton.
Yeah, the McAshton.
Yeah, the haggis burger.
Delish. Spricks.
This is a broader question. How do we? Because I'm not sure how I feel about it. Because on one hand, I can see it. I don't necessarily see it as out of character, but I kind of want to get what you guys think on it. Tony doesn't seem to be scared by vampires because the opening scenes of the film kind of imply a kind of fear in him over vampires, but he's dresses up as one and puts fake teeth in, that sort of thing.
Yes, I could. That's why I thought it was very newer School Day with that nightmare situation, because I think that might be one of the first instances he's had that dream. But then later in the movie, I think it's in the second act when he sees the family, he brings up that he's had dreams, like plural. And I think it's over time the amulet in his room is changing his ideas towards vampires. So when his family says, okay, we're leaving, where he meets Rudolph that night, he's dressing up as a vampire and being very into it. So I think over time, the amulet's actually affecting him more so.
I wish there was...
But it's not easy to see.
Yeah, I
don't think they show that the amulet's affecting him like that.
But it is expressed that it is the source of giving him his dreams.
Yeah, the dreams and visions. It does have that.
All I have is that we see a dream that scares him, and then later he has dreams in plural. So he's had multiple.
And
yeah.
I feel like he mentioned having dreams again when he ran into the bedroom. But I don't know. I'd have to reset that again.
I am tended towards if the amulet's like an artifact or a relic that can influence people, I feel like that would need to be more explicitly stated. Because I can totally buy that as an explanation. I mean, one of my favorite franchises of all time is about an object is influencing people on a journey to destroy it. So I can buy that, but I need an explanation of it. Because one of the big things about Lord of the Rings is they're very explicit that the ring has a will of its own.
That's true. You see it, and they talk about it, and they have a backstory on it. And a lot of that is expressed. This amulet and Little Vampire, no, not really. All we really get is that Tony's actually changing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd say he's changing. It's not like the locket in Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1, because that's also well defined as affecting.
Well, you could do that the dream didn't scare him, but waking up and seeing his monkey scared him.
You could say that. That's a bit strange.
And he's not afraid of vampires. It's a stretch, but...
No, I mean, it's like in real life, right? You could drive a car and then you have I would imagine, a dream where you get hit by a car. Do you stop with cars? No, you just had a scary dream about a car. So he might just like vampires.
Cars are real and vampires aren't.
No, but his liking of them could still be a thing he enjoys. He just had a scary dream of a vampire jumping on him in the ocean.
Yeah, I had a dream I was at the Cullen's wedding. It was pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. I don't get the point.
That
I feel
was
like
I
did a
joke.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I understand your point. No, I was Charlie Swan.
Ah. Walking Bella down.
Because I'm cool.
Down the aisle.
Yeah. No, I get the point you're making. I know the amulet is affecting Tony because of the reason why the dreams are occurring, why he has visions, all this. But how much it's affecting him, other than just giving him visions, or actually, other than giving him dreams and the power itself to have visions.
Yeah. like influencing
think-
him directly to like love vampires. I feel like that's a power that needs to be explicitly stated because
I think so. To me, the fact that he actually has a power shows how much it is, how strong the amulet is. It's not just like he faints and sees something or situations like that. Like he actually full on grabs things and then has the visions and shares them with others. That tells me Tony has a power in him being granted by the amulet.
Yeah.
So it's like
he's in proximity to it. Presumably, if he sleeps 8 hours a night, typically he's had quite a bit of shared proximity to it even before he runs into Rudolph. I guess like I said, for me the object I always go to is the ring from Lord of the Rings because that's just the easiest one to influence. Like so, not only do all the characters talk about it, they give a backstory about the will of the ring and the ability it has to affect people. And it's important that over the course of the story as well, you do see it affect people. So you can see the influence that it takes and how it changes people's behaviors and how it can exaggerate people's behaviors as well. So directly attributing those to the ring through the use of like both cinematography, sound effects, and all else is what helps give the ring a presence in that story. So if the
yes, and your example that multiple people are affected. We see it in that with Frodo, Gollum, Bilbo. It's like multiple people, but in this movie, I don't want to get to it because the third act thing. We know it's affecting Tony. There's a possibility of what I'm thinking that it affects others.
Yeah, and I'm not against it, but because it's the fact that it's so vague on beyond just visions and dreams, I think they should have gotten more explicit that the amulet can influence people. And I mean, the story to work with it is already there. Like the aristocrat lady who fell in love with the vampire who washed the shore with the amulet. Like that could be a part as to why it's influences because the vampire charmed her into like wanting to keep the amulet as a keepsake, and then that you can work something into that with the quote unquote amulet magic system as to why it can affect people around it to be more predisposed to liking vampires over a period of time.
They could have like Rookery. I can't say his name. Is that it?
It's
Rookery.
Rookery.
That's
yeah.
it. Rookery.
It's a weird name.
I think
Rookery.
someone calls him Rookery at one point. But
Rookery. They could because he has a line of the vampire sympathizer. He could have a line of the vampires have turned you or like something. He's implying that something is affecting his view on vampires. He could deliver a line something like akin to that.
yes, but that's if he knows that.
Yeah, it could also be something like
I mean, he's the vampire expert. I could imagine he could know that if that is a thing.
yeah. I mean,
We don't know if that's a thing.
in this scenario you're spouting here, Crimson. The version of that where Rookery, a part of the reason he wants to destroy the amulet is because he knows it helps people to influence to them to be vampire sympathizers. So like the using the item itself to send all the vampires to hell will also in a fashion destroy the amulet. You can tie those story threads together.
Yeah, that is an element they could have sewn in, but they didn't do that. All right. Well, I think we branched off a few times. I don't know where that was, so we'll go with Sprinks.
Okay. I know where I'm going to lean with this, but at 1356, when Tony's like, you can barely walk, and Rudolph's like, but I can fly, and goes out the window, and he hovers
flops.
and then flops, but he hovers first. What did that mean to the two of you?
It looked like Looney Tunes, but in the actual movie, it looks like he flew and then lost the energy to fly, kind of like he had the energy to stick to the wall and then he ran out of energy and fell.
Okay. And for you, writer?
I mean, I don't really have much to add. It's kind of the read to take away from it, at least for me. Unless he's like deficient of, uh, I mean, he is deficient of blood, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I guess I don't really have much to add on to that. That's kind of the only way I interpreted it.
Okay, good. Okay, we're all on the same page then in that regard, seeing that it was an attempt, and I think he was getting lighter, like in a transformation to fly, but it just didn't work because of his weak state. Okay. Versus the other side of it, where it's a Looney Tunes cartoon joke of him flying and, moving his limbs fast in the air before plummeting.
I mean, I think they can coexist.
I don't
because it
think
is
so.
played off as jokes. No, I think there's an in-universe explanation, which is what we all agree, but it also comes off as a Looney Tune gang. I think they can coexist. Writer?
About them coexisting?
No, just a point. Or if you
Oh.
want to add more, I guess.
Okay,
but-
yeah, no, okay, I'll jump to a point. I find it how aggressively Rookery thinks that Tony is a vampire. Like, if I think he would have, the vampire expert would realize that the kid is just a kid out at night. The second that he flashes light, and Tony doesn't even really flinch.
Not enough for you, is it? Yeah, he is quite an incompetent vampire hunter.
Yes.
Say that much.
Buffy would love to use him as a meat shield, but she would first want to steal the air compressor, like rotating stake shooting weapon.
His stake gun. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a good look. He's got a cool vehicle and gadgets. I like everything about him. Just the part I don't like about him is his competency. He's not good.
Oh yeah.
Even yeah.
Act
yeah,
3 gets so much
he's-
worse, but
Yeah, I mean, he's about to mow down a human child. He has no proof of it being a vampire. His radar, I guess, it makes a ding sound because Rudolph's nearby, so it might not just be like a super accurate radar. There's that. I guess that's his okay. He sees Rudolph on the radar, so he sees it as it's
he assumes it's
Tony.
Tony. Yeah.
But then he gets tackled and then flies away. So then
And
he
he
knows
just
there's two
loses
people.
track of him immediately.
Yeah. So yeah, not a great vampire hunter. How do you guys feel about the flying visuals? This is in 2000.
Dated.
I feel it's appropriate for the time, but absolutely dated at this point in time.
I mean,
I felt the same with the CG.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I compare this to Christopher Reeve's Superman because that's even before this, and I think Christopher Reeve's Superman looks better.
I don't agree
Yes.
with that. There's a lot of.
I agree.
How much of that have you seen?
I've seen the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
That's one. Yeah. No, there's a lot of bad CG in those movies. Like when he freezes when he
When he
freezes
catches
the lake.
Lois coming off the
I'm
building,
talking about the
looks far
flying
better than
scenes.
any of the flying in Little Vampire.
I'm not saying there
Some
isn't
parts
bad
look better
CG
than
in those
others.
films, Crimson. I was just saying that I remember the flying scenes in those films better than this one.
Because something we can kind of compare to what we've talked about is the first Scooby-Doo, James Gunn, right? That was 2001, 2003, something like that. And we talked about the CG in that.
True, but I think that movie had a bigger budget.
Yeah. Okay, it was 2002. Right in the middle of it. Do you think the CG was better, worse, same in Scooby-Doo?
And Scooby-Doo better. Still not great, but better. However, the scene of Rowan Atkinson, I forget his character's name, getting grabbed through the floorboards, still terrible.
Bondavarius or something like that. Bondavarius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not good. I don't know. I feel the two is pretty on par in the visual department.
The flying in the Little Vampire did remind me of the flying elves from the first Santa Claus.
It's funny. I was thinking
Yeah.
of the early 2000s live action Peter Pan. That was the first one that came to mind because you can see them flying together through the city, like holding hands and stuff.
The
like that.
British one?
Yeah.
Oh, that looks far better than this. At least the flying aspects of it. The city's very CG, but them flying actually have movement and doesn't just look like they're stationary on cables.
I guess so everyone knows where we are. I'm in the camp. I think it's acceptable for the time, but definitely not the best representation of flying of the time. Sprinks, your...
I think it's dated and a word we now use on the podcast, a bit of the weak sauce. But it's not... There's not problems like you don't see, I think, the wires or anything like that, but it is very weak.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd give it a grade of C. I think it is of the times. It's passable. I've definitely seen better done both before the time and during that time. But there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just I think it might just be the way that it was just shot and framed. But so I'm on it's the weaker side of the time, but I don't have a real like sticking point problem with it.
Okay.
Oh, it's close to the flying in Muppets Christmas Carol.
I remember
Okay.
that. Is that where they're all like dangling off his feet?
No, that's when the Christmas past takes Scrooge and they're flying out his window going to the past. It feels like that same kind of rigging, but I think that's better because it actually showed weight of Scrooge. This one, it's like Tony touching Rudolph makes him completely weightless. And maybe that's just a vampire power, but it does look like... Yes, but it does look like less effort is needed into them flying.
Yeah, because if there was no magic, then Tony would just be dangling while Rudolph's holding him by his arm or something. He wouldn't be parallel with him. Let's go with Sprinks.
Let's see here. Yeah, at 26:54, the mom is taking care of Tony because he has the bloody nose and everything. She removes a tissue out of his nose, and then when we cut back to Tony, there's a tissue in it.
Yeah.
So that's inconsistent. I don't know why they didn't put a new one in because I think she was getting a new one in her hand. They just didn't show it. Though it is lined up for the cute, I guess, little joke of her saying she smells something and Tony with tissues up his nose saying, I don't smell anything.
I don't smell anything. Yeah, I mean, that's a continuity error. At least that's what I would label it under. Something... I think one of the best things about this film is the costume / makeup. I think the vampires look really good to me. Obviously, the vampire hunter, I already said, I think he looks good. I think the cows don't look very good, but that's more the visual effects side of the design. And I mean, even Rudolph's fingertips are black, like he's dead. I think that was a cool little detail. You can see that on the blimp when you hold out his hand. It's cool. I think they did good with that.
I can give you that.
Yeah, I'm glad we have a vampire who's actually dead, I guess. Because
He doesn't sparkle in the
it's different
sunlight.
because like typically in vampire lore, vampires are like ethereally beautiful. So it's kind of fun to have the opposite.
Yeah, Gregory's beautiful. All right.
Hey, to some, really into that like punk rocker vibe.
I was thinking more of like Lenore from Castlevania, but that's not who me.
Writer.
I will. Well, I mean, I'll jump to the party. Another one from the party. I did have a long complaint about everybody noticing, because we kind of touched on it earlier, but everybody noticing the like, yeah, about vampires, and everybody turns and looks. I thought it would be a good point if, even if it was staged, like, I obviously have a lot of issues with the scene retrospectively, but if that was set up for like everybody there being in an anti-vampire cult or a cult, or regarding vampires, especially because McAster is like specifically tied to vampire lore in this movie. I think it would have been a nice little funny gag that could have been interpreted as set up later on, recontextualized as such anyway.
Yeah, I feel like the whole town was in on vampires being real and not just legend or dreams of a child. Then I guess the turn would make more sense. But as is, yeah, it's just
that's what I was hoping it would be. Like, okay, you know what? This could still work.
But nay.
But
Not.
nay.
Nope.
I like the. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say my last small note I think on the party scene is the dad not understanding the Scottish accent. That's fun. I appreciate that because it is a very hard accent to understand, especially when it's full and
especially
natural.
As a babysitter.
Yeah,
And stressing out, panicking that the kid's gone. Slow down. Speak English. Yeah, I just think the dad is pretty solid in this. He's relatable and understandable, comforting, but semi-stern. Yeah, there's more stuff with him going forward. Actually, both of you, how are your act notes?
Whoa. Getting to the end.
yeah, getting to the end. I can probably script together 2.
All right, Sprinks, you're
up. Let's see. 3050. I think it's on the blimp. Tony and Rudolph are talking about the time they need the amulet for the vampires, and they look up in the sky and there's a still shot of the comet. Is the comet above at all times?
Yeah. So allow me to explain astronomy for you right here. I was so annoyed because you're right, Sprinks. This is a fucking problem.
It is. Comets move.
No, not only does the comets move, the Earth rotates.
True, and if that comet isn't moving for that size, that's a fucking huge comet.
It crosses in front of the moon, and Earth is not rotating for it to maintain that speed apparently for like 48 hours or whatever.
Magic Comet. Okay. It's well established.
This is Moon Knight sky moving.
It's the Harbinger of Souls or whatever the heck they called it. The Collector of Lost Souls.
God, why did you remind me of that? It's like the worst scene in Moon Knight.
I'm just saying, if we got things with astrology problems that everyone should be able to see, but no one does.
Yeah.
They should have never cut to the comet.
Well, I mean, instead of cutting to the comet, what you need to have is like, it would make sense that the vampires have telescopes so they can keep track of it. So they just have a little setup somewhere in their corner of the graveyard or something.
That could work. Or when they're on the blimp and rather than looking up and seeing it, you cut to a memory of the past 300 years of Rudolph explaining the comet.
Yeah. I assumed the rules of... I assumed upon seeing it the rules of like Sozin's comet apply from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But even Sozin's comet only shows up for like a day, less than a day. Like
What's Haley's comment? Is that every
Yeah, that's the
10
one of
years?
the recurring ones. Yeah,
Like 60 years or something.
Haley's
It's
comment
a
is so
long,
cool.
it's a long time. What was I gonna say? It's gone. Oof, wasn't in my notes either. All right, well, I'll just talk about the Nintendo Duh. I find it funny. It's like a fish out of water type thing, like Thor, since we covered that recently. He sees kids play the Game Boy, and it kind of bugs me that he calls it the Nintendo instead of Game Boy. But hey, nitpick, I guess. I think it's a fun
You can tell it
interaction.
wasn't written by gamers. I'll just say it like that.
Yeah.
It's a Nintendo. One of those fangled gaming machines. So
As a
fun, cool little interaction.
joke written for this movie, it's fine. It works.
We never saw him teach him how to play though the following day.
At my age currently, I think I've outgrown the joke.
The duh stuff, yeah. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely for the kids.
Writer?
I'll do. I love that all the again just shows the loving and caring parents. They leave the party early once they discern something is wrong because of the Scottish woman's babble. Um, and I do like that you know, they check on their son. It's just again reinforcing the family dynamic in subtle ways, even though obviously he's hiding his vampire friend.
Do you have anything to add to that, Springs? Or
No, that's fine. The parents to leave early. It makes sense if there's a problem for a situation to occur. Responsible parents.
yeah, they're pretty good. Right,
I have a question for
a Springs thing.
Okay, I had a targeted question for Ryder, being the one who wears glasses here. I know Tony's 8, but is it odd that when going to bed he puts his glasses in different places in his room and not a designated place?
So I noticed that too. I would go with typically no. Um, I think the movie gets away with it though because he's pulling from one place and then his dad takes them off the next time and puts it in a different place. So like his dad doesn't know where he puts them. I can sort of believe that's what happened more later on.
Okay.
It's out of the norm, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say it's out of the norm. Yeah. My glasses always go to the same spot when they're off.
Okay. It's just something I noticed, and I don't know how true. I'm like a kid. It's like I lost my glasses. I lost this or whatever. It's like that makes sense, but you have a nightstand next to your bed that the first place he puts them, and I'm like, okay, and then they're like on the bookshelf on the opposite side of his bed. Is another time he picks them up, and I just so.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring up probably a world issue now that they establish with animals turning into vampires. It's kind of a cool concept because I haven't really seen that in vampire stuff that they turn animals. Like imagine if in Twilight all the deer that they eat turn into vampire deer. That would be a whole issue.
It feels like
Well,
everything's
here,
bitten in this
funny
one.
example. I was gonna say funny example because vampire deer are a thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's an animal. At least with the fangs, they're pretty cool. But in regards to this, we have vampire cows, and we are established that this clan doesn't eat humans or suck human blood, and that they are probably doing animals. So where are all these vampire animals?
Whoa! Drinking animals.
Sure, yeah, they're drinking.
It's
animals,
kid movies. Let's not say they're
everyone thought
doing
what I was
animals.
saying.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're not Julius.
Yeah, they're doing the
here,
animal
okay?
diet. So I would have liked to have heard a background story about where livestock is disappearing or something, because we just have the farmer whose cows
I
don't
mean,
come out
that
to
would
eat
be
during
how
the
the
day.
vampire hunter, supposed competent vampire hunter, would be tracking them when he realizes a bunch of animals are going missing at night.
Yeah, that's a
That would
whole
be
thing
smart.
they should add, but it's absent when it really should be present.
It also
But
really questions the end credits scene, or I
does
guess
it?
the scene in the credits.
What do you mean?
Well, they're not out of the pasture, but they're not vampires.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they're full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's weird that they're not out there grazing. They're still in the
It
barn during the
feels
day.
like every time that the vampires bite something in this world, they turn into something else. Like the grave owner watcher dude, he gets turned into a vampire by the end of the film, and
Yes, and he has questions I have on him as well.
Yeah, I think we all have questions for that guy.
just a few. So even if the cows weren't turned into vampires, they definitely can fly around like vampires. They're hanging upside down in the barn like vampires when they're found at night. So they're
They have
vampire-like
fangs.
for sure. So it feels like everything they bite would turn into vampires. In which case, there would be so many more vampire animals.
Oh, vampiric grass. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be like Aeon Flux where the grass turns into blades.
Also, what's stopping the cows not from biting the barn owner?
Nothing.
That barn owner was condemned to death.
Also, supposedly cows have red eyes and regular vampires don't. Only thing I can think of that would be going. That would be going to the Twilight scenario, where if you drink human blood, you have red eyes, and if you drink others, you have yellow. And these cows are drinking cow blood, which is themselves essentially, which is granting the red eyes.
They can't.
Well,
Could
I have
they-
nothing to
could they
refute it
drink
because we
their own
don't see
blood?
another clan.
Yeah. I know there's one vampire story that I actually quite liked. Milk is actually very close in composition to what vampires actually eat. So vampires actually drink milk in a. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Biologically speaking, milk is not too far from what blood is consisted of. So vampires in one world use milk as a substitute for blood, which was neat.
Well, I'm thinking the brand new vampire cows have red eyes. The brand new vampire guy does not have red eyes.
No, which brings up: did he
So
drink
that
a
doesn't
human
even
blood?
make sense.
It's
I mean, he probably didn't drink any.
inconsistency.
Are you assuming the cows drank human blood? Because I'm not going to assume.
I'm
that.
assuming the cows drank cow's blood. They're drinking each other's blood. That's what's turning all the cows into vampires. Is the first one's drinking the other one, and they're just drinking each other's blood.
Oh no, that's
No, he
not what
took the
happened.
family
The
there to-
family eats
yeah.
through and turn them. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's getting into later X.
That brings up a problem then.
Well, man, I guess we'll cover it. Put a dot on that in the notes, I guess. Let's go with the Springs point.
I only have one left.
All right, shoot it out there.
Yeah, 31-31. When the parents, as bats, come into the cemetery, and Rudolph's like, Tony, go hide. My parents are here, or whatever. One of the sound effects is just a hawk screeching.
Those
not
vampire hawk bats. Yeah, I mean it's just an animal noise that they picked, I guess. So fair criticism. What I don't get is what's hiding going to do? They can smell him, right? They could probably smell a human, right? Even Anna senses him when he's not even close later. All right, Ryder, you have anything left?
Yeah, I'll rapid fire through a couple. I really like the scene where the dad takes Rudolph to go golfing. Not Rudolph. Tony to go golfing. Again, more the family dynamic. it was fixing a lot of my worries going into this film because I thought the parents were going to be very, very generic, like non-existent parents essentially. But I felt that this was like, okay, they're keeping the parents incorporated, and they're keeping that family aspect going, even if things are odd right now. And
How'd you know he's in my room?
yeah,
It was kind of funny,
yeah,
as the dad says. No, yeah, strong scene, I'd say.
yeah, a really good scene. Very much enjoy it. Um, and then my last point is going to be the drawing, and which draws Rudolph out to fly with him. I best faith interpretation of this scene is that Rudolph wants to hang out with him, and that's why he agrees to take Tony flying. But he should probably understand the value of the amulet, so I'm a little annoyed that Rudolph didn't try to push a little bit harder on like, where is it? Why are you drawing this? Where have you seen it before? He's 9, but it feels like Grant would have asked him to do that, or
And,
Frederick.
I mean, he's given an easy task to get the info.
Yeah, I'm not.
So I don't have too much of an issue of him not pushing back because it is a simple request.
Okay.
If it was something more time consuming or
I mean,
more
it is
annoying,
but it is time constrained though. Like they only have 48 odd hours or whatever.
well, it kind of
It-
tells them while they're flying, I think, because by the time they land at the cemetery, they're kind of already talking about, oh, so you didn't actually hold it. So
Okay.
I think they were talking while flying.
Mm, that doesn't fix it fully for me, but it does put a few patches there. All right, I can accept that.
Uh, I guess my last point is with the bullies, where he says, "Get out of my way, losers." I get he has a vampire friend now, but I don't get where this added confidence is fully coming from with the bully. I don't know. It kind of seemed extra. I get it later when he's like their master.
When he scares the shit out of them, yeah.
At this stage, it kind of seems a little too much. I don't know why he has this sense of superiority to where he can just badmouth his
Yeah,
bullies now.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a nick to the character.
should have been tamer approach. Approach still being made is fine, but too much.
Get out of my way, losers. All right, final call before Act 2. All clear?
Uh,
On call.
Kind of touched on it, but the only thing I have left, I think, is I couldn't quite tell if Rudolph was actually a British actor or if it was all ADR work.
If Rudolph was a British actor?
Yes. Like, if him
Um,
speaking, are there actually British lines, or is that all dubbed over British?
No clue.
Towards the end, I think he is a British actor, but he also has ADR work done as like Tony, not as much as Tony, but
Yeah, I feel like there's not nearly as much. I mean, like I said, with where he's at now, he's a businessman in England, so it would make sense he was raised there, but that's just assuming. I didn't do a deep dive into his life when doing facts.
well, Rollo Weeks is a very American-sounding name.
All right, then let's go into Act 2, which this does involve talking with the vampire family, and ends with Tony whistles in the tomb. It's the act of whistling, not them actually hearing it. That's the cutoff. And let's start with Spriggs on this one.
All right, to the family with the cows. There's 5 family members and there's 5 cows. Rudolph already drank from 1 cow, and then they take the family to drink. Did each family member then get a cow separately?
It gets iffy because we don't exactly see them each. It's kind of like they're already finishing up drinking. So I don't see why they couldn't share a cow.
Okay, because it falls into two camps. Either they all had a separate cow, which is then my problem of why did the cows not all change at the same pace, and it was different. Like the next day, only one more was missing, and the other three are fine, and then so it changed the time. Or the other hand, where it was all the same cow that they drank out of, so three weren't, and there was the one Rudolph had and the one family had, and then the other three were then changed by the other two cows in the barn.
I'm fully on board that all the cows got changed by human vampires. I don't think any cows turned. The combinations of how many people get per cow, I don't know the combos. We don't see them all lined up or something. I don't know. I don't know if a vampire is allowed to drink another vampire, because I know in the Buff universe that's a thing
Well,
that you can't
yeah,
do.
that falls into do these vampires have blood?
Also true. So don't know. Not enough lore built in this.
More world
For me
building
to say.
required before definitive answer given.
Yeah. So either end of this story, I have a problem.
Well, speaking on vampire cows, how are they dangling with hooves?
Well, if they can fly, it could be the weightless thing.
They could fly and hook their legs around. That's not too difficult for me. Like it would be in the crook of their knees, kind of.
That's not what it looks like in the bar. It looks like it's from their hooves.
It does look like not great CGI.
To be honest, I was more
The
distracted by the bad
udders
CGI, so I
flopping
actually
down.
can't help you.
The udders flopping down on that one cow. What a visual. Actually, Ryder, since you had no idea this movie existed, did you ever expect you to see some flying vampire cows?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't look at the udders, and I didn't. I no, I didn't expect to see flying vampire cows. No, it was. I was
Interesting.
kind of struck by the bad CGI and just like, this is happening. All right.
Okay, I feel like that's the only thing writer went into this movie would have known.
I feel like it's a staple with this film.
'Cause-
But he never heard of it.
Well, when we brought up like what are we choosing for the season of like who's picking what, and Crimson, you chose Little Vampire. I remember in the talk I just went, "Oh, vampire cows." But if writer didn't retain that information, then no.
I've been busy the last few weeks, so probably not.
Not retained.
Yeah, didn't
So-
retain that one. Sorry.
Yeah, and then there's the aspect where can the cows turn into bats? Do they get bat feet? Because we see Rudolph gets bat wing ears.
I'm leaning no because of the end or Act 3.
I mean, Rudolph can fly not as a bat as well.
Yeah,
So I think cows could fly without being bats. Whether or not they would
I
know how to
agree,
turn
but
into a
that
bat,
not
that would
changing.
probably be the debate.
don't even know if the biology would be to a bat.
Ryder?
On vampire cows being able to turn into bats, or a new point.
Either.
I'm gonna jump to a
Or
new point.
both.
I'm gonna jump to a new point because I don't really have any commentary on the bats turning into cows. Other than that would be funny. Would like to see, I guess. I got a quick one for you. My subjective points went up the moment I saw Richard E. Grant on screen.
Huh.
Yay.
Points in plural. Interesting.
I enjoy the actor quite a bit. He's very charming. In the same way I enjoy Stellan Skarsgård. No matter if the movie's terrible or not, I'll enjoy them acting.
Yeah, I think he does a good job in the role. His character makes some questionable decisions.
Oh yeah, he's an idiot. I have a lot of objective issues with the character, or some objective issues with the character, but I didn't like the actor. He was great.
Man. Oh, gosh. You know what? I'll jump and talk about his first just combat style as you pitched, where we have Rookery come in with his machine gun, stake gun, which is pretty neat and nifty. And Frederick just stands there, lifts his arms up, ready to be a martyr for vampires all around the world. Because I don't know what he was doing.
It's even
He
better.
did the same
He's
when the
slow-
sunlight.
It's even better. He's slowly moving towards Rookery to be a better target. He's not like dodging and weaving. He's just making himself big to be hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something I know about this movie: these vampires aren't fast.
No, they're not Twilight zombies. They're zombies,
They're not
vampires.
Twilight. They're not Castlevania. They're not quick vampires.
Yeah, so he was terrible. He wasn't even really protecting anybody because everyone kind of ran away. And they could just turn into bats and fly away. They don't even have to stay in human form, which is a bigger, easier target to hit.
Well, true, but they are big bats.
They're not as big as human. And it's harder to hit a flying thing than a stationary person.
The adult bats might be as big as the kids.
It's hard to say. We don't really have a comparison because when the parents turn from bat to human, they're up on a ledge, but there's not really anything to compare the size to. So I guess maybe hard to say. But what can be said is he made a stupid decision standing there waiting to get shot for nothing. Let's go with Sprinks.
Yes. Does the fluorescent cross make music?
I wrote in bold. Sprinks is going to bring up the sound here. Yes, is my answer. I think it does make sound or music.
Ryder?
No, I don't think the cross makes music. But I find it funny that they play it like it does.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to, being a 50-50 split of the two of you, to not fully convince me either way, I'm going to go with that I think it doesn't make music, and it's just edited that way for the joke of it going out.
All right. I don't feel strongly either way because I think it's fine either way.
But if both of you were to convince me that it is making music, I would find that extremely stupid.
Yeah, I mean it is dumb, but it's also a kids movie with vampire cows. So
It's a kid movie where the tone of Frederick's introduction of lifting Tony as like a scare thing would be pretty scary for a kid watching this movie, but they add in a slide whistle to break the tone.
Yeah, it's
kind of like
def-
in
Of raising Tony up and down.
the second Mummy movie. A little bit.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Creeper Gregory, Summon upon Tony. Good thing he's not too bloodthirsty because he could have just jumped him instead of.
You could just killed him. I'm surprised he didn't, considering what he does or later in the film.
Yeah.
So I actually have this down as plot armor for Tony because of what happens later in the film.
I consider it a little plot armor that I don't think a vampire hunter who has just stumbled upon a whole family of vampires would let one's groundskeeper tell him to leave.
Especially this vampire hunter. This vampire hunter would have knocked him out and continued.
I mean, he killed him.
I know.
Well, pretty
He
much,
murdered him. So yeah, I guess he would disregard the guy. But he did come back later with a full plan, so I think there was reason for him to leave too. It's just to regroup and plan for the actual break-in.
Yeah.
Ryder, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. What did we think of the choice to, I guess, get Rudolph and Tony going to see his bullies to scare the crap out of them? I think I'm okay with it. I wasn't okay with it at first, but I think I've worked myself into being okay with it.
I'm okay with the idea of it. there's still problems with it. I like the idea that Rudolph being a friend is like, okay, let's do this, and they do it at night, so that way you can incorporate Rudolph. And being that it's Tony's idea to stand up, Rudolph is helping Tony stand up rather than using Rudolph to attack the bullies and scare them until it comes to that point. What I don't like is that the dad of Lord McCashton enters the room to his son screaming. And as he's coming into the room, like fully walking in, there's a sound effect playing that Rudolph and Tony leave out the window. So he is completely blind to opening a room and not seeing two strangers in it.
Yeah, I agree. That's the weird editing choice.
He's groggy. He doesn't have his contacts in. He took them out.
The kids were still screaming when he walked in.
Invalid
The kids would have seen him leave.
Valid excuse. Excuse terminated. No, I agree.
It's
not well executed.
I can't talk about that. Yeah, I can't. Sorry, I had to stop myself accidentally causing a timey-wimey situation.
Oh yeah, we don't want timey-wimey issues.
Sorry, audience, can't talk about
it. I guess on the topic of the scaring the bullies, I'm okay with it. I didn't like originally, and I still don't fully prefer it, but I would rather just have Rudolph scare them. Having Tony, he just doesn't look like a Tony. It's so hard for me to think Tony. Tony doing it.
I kind of want to call him Ralphie, weirdly enough.
I know. It's like a Ralph.
What was his name in Stuart Little?
Ralph? I have no idea.
Tony.
I know.
Jonathan Lipnicki.
Maybe it's Ralph.
No, it's not Ralph.
I think if Tony were to introduce himself, I wouldn't have him go full bore, like, in a mask or anything. I would probably mimic the pose that he's doing when they show up to school the next day, where he's just leaning against the fence trying to look cool. So they wake up and see Tony doing that, like he just appeared there. I think that would project it enough, I think, for Rudolph to do the rest.
I'm the Lord of the Underworld. Is that Tony? Get him. So, I guess in large, it's fine. I personally would just prefer if Rudolph just scared them. Let's go with the writer.
Alrighty. I don't know. I like.
Oh, you do know.
Yeah. So, you threw me out of my loop, Sprinks. Give me a sec.
You said you don't know. I'm telling you, you do know. Lay it on us.
Okay.
You broke him.
No, like
I didn't realize that would break you.
No, he threw me out of my OODA loop. I needed time. Okay.
Sorry, Cusco.
No. Didn't ruin my groove. You threw me out of my OODA loop, okay? I really felt that the amulet rose to MacGuffin status. That I think for me, the second Grant shared a vision with Tony. I can call him Grant. His character name is Frederick.
Yeah, I can agree. The amulet was kind of whatever they needed it to be at the moment.
Yeah, so it really rose to MacGuffin status there for me, and again, it's not a bad thing. I'm just gonna be tracking how they use it because I'm fine with MacGuffins being at the heart of your story. Just don't overuse them like J.J. Abrams does.
So, the story. Correct me if I'm wrong. The cliff at the beginning of the movie is the same cliff at the end of the movie, so it's both. It's taking place in Scotland in both.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
No.
They bring up.
It's
not.
No. Right. I thought it wasn't.
Okay.
I think it. Now I don't even know if they specified.
Okay.
It looks like the same area.
It looks the same. That's why I was questioning it.
It looks the same. I don't think it is. The issue, if it is that we have The
The
vampires
first one doesn't
lost.
have ruins.
Yeah, the vampires
right?
lost where the fucking amulet was. Then.
Yes, I'm getting to that. So Frederick brings up that the tale they have of the amulet is that it was given to the one who jumped off the cliff and they never saw him again, and that he came across a foreign coast. He was washed upon a foreign coast. But with the vision, that coast is Scotland. So that made me question if it's the same cliff from before of the 300 years prior. Have they been in Scotland the whole 300 years, or did they go from one place to another without knowing where to go? And they're currently in Scotland looking for the amulet as possibly the foreign coast without guaranteeing it before the vision with Tony.
I go towards more the latter, what you said, Springs, because if they know that where they lost the amulet was in Scotland, I take issue with the fact that they couldn't find it, even a hint of it, for 300 years.
That's what I was going with as well, that the crest of a common house that's pretty much within their city, they have not crossed the lines for 300 years.
Well, they didn't know about the crest. They didn't have the vision, but it's hard. I guess it's just convenient that they're in Scotland at this time. I guess is where I'm. It's weird that the initial place looks like this final spot in Scotland, but they
Okay,
do bring up
so
the foreign shore.
So
So
it's not the same cliffs. It's a foreign shore where the vampire washed up, which turned out to be Scotland. So all the coincidence is the amulet, the family, the location to call in the other vampires before the comet timing, and the house crest that was 300 years old all coincidentally fall upon each other within the 48 hours before the comet. Or quote unquote 48 hours, however time they need.
I don't feel the crest is convenient, other than just the vision itself being convenient.
Well, they need the
but
crest to know
everything
the
else,
family to Elizabeth to where the amulet wound up.
yeah, but I chop that up to the vision being convenient, not the crest. I guess the crest being tied to the family. I guess yes, because it could have been someone else. So yeah, there's convenience abound.
Okay. To me, that is not just one coincidence. That is 4 layered coincidences
this
all on
story
top
is
of each other.
built upon coincidence, as far as I'm concerned. But I was referring specifically to just the MacGuffin being
Yes, of the amulet.
the unifying coincidence.
So yeah, lots of conveniences. Let's see. I'm going to go with when Rookery, I guess, attacked their slumber, and I don't know why they're sleeping.
Great question. I also had that written down.
Yeah, it's
nighttime,
Yeah,
and they're looking for this amulet. What
Why
are they
they
doing?
sleeping?
yeah. If it was daytime, this would make a lot more sense. They would be sleeping during the day.
100%.
But they're sleeping at night. I took a huge issue with that. It was a world building problem, a character problem, and a plot problem.
Yeah, and more Frederick being a moron, and I guess the rest of the family just standing there cooking in the light when they could just go somewhere else.
Yeah, they were all
Yeah.
they all heard "Blinded by the Light" in their head, the song.
Also, that light contraption is fully caged and with like metal overlapping it to, I guess, protect it. Tony throws one rock. Is it just
He's got a good arm,
luck?
and it went right through
But
the
it's
hole.
luck that it had the right size to go through the hole to break one light, and breaking one of the 5 lights destroys the whole thing.
Yeah, see, they didn't cover this in his backstory, but it turns out Tony is a
He played
huge
baseball before moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Baseball before the golf.
yeah. And see, that would fix the problem a little bit for me. Is if like we see him playing catch with his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how far is the cemetery for this light to come down for Tony to run from his house there?
That's another convenience. Is why he's there. we see there's no indicator. He's just laying in his bed awake, and then Guess I'll go over the
But, well,
cemetery.
best I got is he knows where Rudolph lives. So if he wants to go find and play with Rudolph, that's where to go.
He would have gone there earlier though. Like it's already nighttime. Rudolph probably would have flown to his house already by now, but for some
I think
reason he's asleep.
that's the situation. Yeah. Rudolph didn't come to Tony, so Tony woke up and went to him.
It's all not very good.
No, I
Not
just
good.
don't. I can't say an 8-year-old running to a cemetery takes less than 5 minutes.
There's gonna be some more teleporting that happens.
Unless the burning actually doesn't really burn them and it's just irritating.
Yeah, we never see a vampire die to light.
No, but it freezes them.
It drains them.
Works
Drains
like
them.
fucking kryptonite. Okay.
Not the kryptonite I've seen.
So there's issues.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
Yeah.
Frederick takes a hit to his intelligence. Tony teleports. Gets superpowers for a second.
Mercury has outdated tech that a pebble can destroy.
Yeah, a pebble that phased through the metal cage around it and hit one of the lamps. So Rookery just it short circuited the whole thing, and so Rookery didn't just turn it around so the other lamps could work. They all went out.
Like Christmas lights. One goes out, the other goes out. Yeah. They're all part of one circuit.
There's a bulb on this tree. That's not right.
Let's go with Sprinks.
Why the heck was Gregory muzzled and in a straitjacket?
Because he just bit somebody.
Oh, that's the reason? Because he bit the groundskeeper?
Yeah, he's out of control.
Okay. That works.
Yeah, and that's kind of an amusing visual.
It is, but it just caught me off guard. I'm like, why the heck is he... Why does he look like this? But
haven't really
to contain him.
talked about it yet, but I quite... It's kind of funny that the Rudolph's sister is just making the odd comments about Tony being chivalrous and not being subtle about the fact that she's.
She makes a poem for him.
I know, not being subtle at all for the romantic inclinations she has. One of them I think was just a funny comment about when Tony unstraps the air pipe, I guess, or the air cord
for the stake gun.
Yeah, for the stake gun, and saves Frederick's life because Frederick's being an idiot. And then she just makes a comment, "Oh, chivalry isn't dead," and then she just gets grabbed and pulled away by the mom because mom is trying to evacuate them. It was a little funny.
Yeah,
I appreciated the detail of that. Outside of the humor, I appreciated the mom was just like, "What are you doing? We need to leave. Why are you doing this right now?" And just grabs her and yanks her away.
Let's bring up another vampire issue, but this one's not related to the family. It's the groundskeeper guy. He's a vampire now. He was captured as a vampire, and then Rookery shows him to McAshton in the daylight, and he doesn't react to the sun.
He's still turning.
Yeah, my best face interpretation of that is he's still turning.
Okay, that's what we're going with. He's still turning.
I don't think he's a full vampire until Act 3. But even still in Act 3, I have a nitpick.
I was trying to think of the timetables because the vampire cows turn by morning.
Cows and humans are different? I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, the rules just are inconsistent with themselves. Like, I would agree with you, Sprinks, but I feel, again, I just want that to be more explicit.
Yeah, because we could just say the cows have red eyes because the animals have red eyes and not human vampires because that's all we see.
Could be, but I don't know.
Right. Ryder.
I'm annoyed that the first off that the vampires are sleeping, but I also don't like the fact that Rookery is not exactly being subtle. He's making a lot of noise, banging around metal and clinking stuff, and none of the vampires react to this even before he puts the gravedigger in there.
Yeah, with their super sensitive hearing, you'd think that they'd wake up to it. But nothing.
Yeah.
Just Gregory. Right, Sprinks?
How long do you think it took the dad to realize that Tony wasn't next to him at work?
Father of the Year. It's hard to say. I mean, it looks like he came home way later.
Yeah. It's still light
'Cause
out, but
Because it looked like work just started when they split up. So, yeah, I'd say certainly a few hours would be my guess.
wow. Didn't realize Tony was gone until lunch break.
Could be. Don't know. We don't get an exact time. More than a couple minutes.
I'll say I guess I'll put it the expedition, not expedition. What's the word? A lot of
I don't know.
words, lot of talk about something to explain.
Exposition.
Exposition. Thank you. The exposition of the McAshton family with Elizabeth that Lord McAshton and Rookery have is very thick.
Yeah, it is an exposition dump. I don't think it's too long to where I'd say it's bad, but it is pretty lacy.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I feel like they could have done something by tying it into Rookery's character. It's kind of implied that he's been it's like the story is like his life, his knowledge has been passed down from hunter to hunter. That would have been the scene to explain like his relation to the McAshton family via just like the fact they are vampires, because we see his ancestor or whatever like coming to kill the McAshton lady in a future.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth. So I feel like he could have, to make it, I would have preferred it to be a little more character centric, but I'm kind of in agreement. It's a very thick exposition scene. It would be nice. It's better to tie it to the characters a little more.
It was an Act 1 note that I forgot to say, but I liked how Rookery, that's such a weird name, his truck kind of looks similar to his ancestor's carriage, with
A little.
where the lights are placed and all the doodads sticking out. I just thought it was kind of a neat design. Don't know if it's coincidence or not, but I think
I think the
it
carriage
looked
looks
intentional.
cooler.
Yeah, I think they both look pretty cool. Sprinks.
I didn't have a lot for this act. Lord McAshton thinks putting Tony in the tomb is murder, where it could be, but it has to get to a point of murder, right?
How do you mean?
Right now, it's just kind of like containing the kid.
I guess right now it's kidnapping, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have Rookery kind of saying leaving him for dead type deal. And he says that vampire sympathizer at this point, and then I'm thinking to myself, when did he learn he's no longer a vampire?
Yeah, it's
when
not.
the cross didn't work?
No, because
Yeah.
he kept bringing up stuff. No, it's
It kind of happened
know,
off
like he
screen,
shined the light and it did
realization,
nothing,
which
but-
is weird, I guess.
I wish he saw him out with his dad,
Yeah,
because he stayed behind his dad out of view. I wish he saw him, because he's like, oh, he can't be vampire at state.
yeah, that would solve the issue or solve the problem somewhat for me. as well. I thought
would
it
hope.
would have been better if he saw him in daylight.
Writer.
I I I find it funny though that Tony cannot sneak up the stairs at all. He's just stomping, and none of the house staff look for him or notice him. I don't have an issue with the fact that they don't notice him, but it's a little bit odd that none of them pay attention enough to see him.
Yeah, he's kind of a
Yeah, it
lucky
is a
guy.
little odd.
Just
Yeah.
more to tack on.
Like, it wouldn't be the staff's knowledge that he's friends with the two sons, or quote unquote friends.
Yeah, I don't see this staff knowledge, and I don't see them necessarily knowing it's the son of the person that's working on the golf course.
Yeah. And bring your son to work day isn't. It was spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's not an actual set thing. So.
Let's talk about Tony breaking the railing and causing this whole Final Destination stuff where he's just dangling off to fall in front of the bad guys.
How unlucky. How lucky
Yeah,
for the
that
villains.
feels like a movie moment.
Yeah.
It does.
That's just the plot progressing in a very particular direction.
Yeah, I can tell you why. Because it is a movie moment.
Yeah.
I like the McAshen's reaction to seeing the body, or the soon-to-be vampire of the grave guy. His reactions are pretty funny, like his facial expressions.
The startle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Decent stuff. Decent. Sprinks, you said you're running on the low side. You want to have more?
Don't. It's already been touched by the two of you.
Ryder.
Nothing until. Yeah, I think I'm out. I think my last one is actually the running into the bullies again and making them run away, like Army Crawl, which was, I don't know, it kind of crosses a line for me in a personal level, but I think it makes sense for Tony's character, so I don't necessarily have an issue. And then the gag of Rookery, he has a lot of expertise with doors like this, and he just bashes it in.
Yeah, I will say I think they do a good job with Rookery's knowledge. His competency is just actually getting things done. Like, so he figured out that the tomb was empty for centuries, and he determined it's going to be in an unmarked location wrapped in chains, because I guess that's a standard vampire ritual thing. And he's competent in his knowledge, but not in how he executes his plans.
In the D&D world, we would say he has a really high intelligence stat, a very low wisdom stat, because he can apply it.
Yeah. I always like the visual of just looking at someone and be like, no, you dingaling, tomatoes are fruit, while eating a fruit salad with tomatoes.
But is ketchup a smoothie?
All right, that's a different talk for a different day.
All right.
Someone was arguing the other day. I saw that, like, is a cereal a nacho? Like, dude, shut up.
The heck?
I haven't heard that one before. Jesus Christ.
What was the basis for that one? All right. Do I have anything else? No, I think I'm good as well. So we are trekking on to Act 3, which is the whistle goes off and they hear to the very end of the film. And this time I shall start. And I will start with my least favorite part of the movie, and that's the cow poop. Way overboard.
Okay, that's a kid joke. That's potty humor.
It's freaking bottom rung. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like that.
No, bottom done.
Yeah, there you go. That's funnier than the actual joke in the movie.
So,
Um,
as a first timer for this film, I literally had no idea what was going to happen because I'm like, the truck's just gonna try to run through the cows. But I think the cows. So I thought the cows were gonna commit, quote unquote suicide. They're vampires. I feel like they would have been able to tank an actual physical hit from the truck. Was not expecting the poop flyby.
yeah, and then them laughing. The cow laughed.
The cow laugh was a bit weird. It's
Okay,
like
so
turning into a vampire made him
that's part
smirk
one,
or
right?
something.
Why did only one of them shit on the windowsill? What,
That
what
was
did
the
the
plan of
rest?
the
What
one.
did the rest contribute to this like showdown?
They kept them occupied by
Intimidation.
looking at the road. I don't know. So yeah, vampire cows. As amusing as it is, it's just not good. It's not well
No,
implemented.
but it is one of the most memorable things of the movie. Is vampire cows.
It is. It is. And I like that they did respond to the call, like the Gregory call. So that there is reason for them to be out of the barn and over here. So that's a positive. Gosh, the poop. It's too much. It's just too much.
What do we
We'll go
think of?
Sprinks next.
What do we think of the magic whistle that a human
Never
can
mind.
do
We'll
to
put it right
reach?
next.
Oh well, what was it? Anne? Yeah, Anna
And
specifically.
yeah,
Yeah, Anna specifically taught Tony how to whistle in his bed. So I guess she picked up the actual sound of him doing it that she was looking for, like a 1-to-1. So I think Tony doing it and Anna picking it up is fine. If Tony did it and like Frederick was like, "That's Tony's whistle," where Frederick
Yeah.
had nothing to do with Tony's whistle,
Yeah,
then
I'm
it's
fine
weird.
with Anna being the one to figure it out. My issue is that it's underground and it reached her anyway. She can have super hearing, but it's still like a magic whistle, essentially.
Yes.
it sounds like a magic whistle.
The way I've convinced myself that it could work is that uh, she was teaching him a very, very specific, not frequency, but
Like death whistle type thing, magic. Like
no, I'm
It's like
trying to think.
she's tuned into his whistle.
tone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like frequency tone is somewhat the right words, but I'm trying to think of the word and the sound. It's like she
Pitch?
taught him a whistle at a specific decibel. Thank you. That's kind of how I'm convincing myself that it works.
Yeah, we don't have a limit on their hearing, I guess. We know they can hear from a few hundred feet away through the car bit.
Hmm.
So I guess however far from Tony's house to the
McAshton's.
to McAshton's.
Yeah.
However far that is.
I very much enjoy this scene with Tony's dad arriving home and he's lecturing Rudolph, or is it Rudolph?
Rudolph's the one with the helmet. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah, I just forgot the name for a second, so I just wanted to make sure I got the name right. But yeah, he's lecturing what he thinks is Tony, and then he realizes it's Rudolph, and then Rudolph just nods the head once, and the
And
parents
thinks
get their time
Anna
alone.
is
Yeah,
Tony. It's
yeah,
like, oh, sorry, Rudolph. You.
yeah. It was a funny but passable scene because he's a worried dad, and it comes across like he drove all the way home to find out where Tony is, which I appreciated. They're trying to be good parents, and they get some alone time
Yeah.
thanks to Rudolph.
I,
So, or
I,
so
I
they
wrote
think.
that down like, oh, parent time.
Exactly.
Oh.
You gotta take
Yeah.
you gotta take your moments when you're a parent.
We brought up earlier, or Crimson did, about the groundskeeper changing. I think it was fully changed when he got himself out of the truck.
Yes.
But then he walked in front of the car and the lights didn't affect him.
Not just that, he didn't try to bite Rookery.
Yeah, I was also weirded out by that. I don't know why he wouldn't try to attack Rookery because Rookery is responsible for the way he is.
Well, you can also do it
acted
in the
weird.
whole. Yeah, you can also do it in the whole car ride McCashton took to get to Tony's parents' place. The groundskeeper's in the back of the car and never bit Lord McCashton.
No, I
I also don't know
all
how
the
he got in
other
the car.
See,
yeah, I don't
when
know.
he stood up and walked away, for me, this is where the point where the gag went too far. The joke has overstayed its welcome.
He's no longer the guy. He doesn't talk.
No,
He just
I
does
just
these weird grins and
he's a gag.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's a well implemented
I
gag.
mean, the easiest fix for this is just to have Rookery, after he demonstrates like the bites and stuff, is just drive a stake through his heart. Fixes the rest of the film,
That,
adds to his
that way we can see
competency.
what it looks like.
Actually, that would add some drama to it if the groundskeeper bit Rookery and now Rookery thinks he's going to turn into a vampire.
And then he has the sacrifice of getting the amulet to kill himself along with all the vampires. Ugh. Or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But no, groundskeeper guy amounted to nothing.
Waste
It would
of
also turn.
time.
Ooh, that actually would be good because that would turn him into a good guy. If he was turning into a vampire and he went off the cliff, and it's the big question of like, oh, was he human and he died, or was he vampire enough to survive? And then he survives with the blimp and he's a vampire, but then he's actually a part of the group and not actually a threat. And then the wish caused him, and because he's a vampire, went in. So then he becomes a good guy. That could have been cool.
Been interesting. But no, we got Bob the Killer over here. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Bob
Yeah.
the Killer.
Bob,
Okay.
Robert, that was not just attempted murder. That was murder. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he pushed him off. And he dusted off his hands like nothing happened.
That's how we do it in San Diego.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bob and that's been too long. Was it Dee Dee? What was it?
Dottie.
Dottie. We're really
Oh,
sticking
shoot.
it to him, and he was not doing very well.
I kind
Yes,
of like
okay.
that the parents got to throw their fisticuffs in.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Damages
brought it
his combat abilities though.
A little.
He
I
had
brought it up in
combat
Act
abilities?
1.
He's a
The
vampire hunter.
Frederick and Frida knocking on the door and Robert and Dottie opening it. Are they being charmed and under a
Hypnotized.
spell?
Yeah, that's how I had to read
Okay.
it. I think they're
I
being
couldn't-
charmed.
I was thinking the possibility also with the amulet being in their house that they're being affected to just think they're aristocrats and not being like, oh, vampires.
Not definitely the hypnotized. We had that set up with Rudolph and the cow. That's a thing the vampires can do in this.
I if it was the amulet, what you would do then, Sprinks, is you would have them slowly come to on the ride over. And the mom looks like she has a moment where she's questioning something, but they kind of put her back under the spell. So what you would do is they would kind of sober up along the way and just ask more direct questions. But I do think they were hypnotized / charmed.
Okay. Just curious on that.
McAshton was pretty amusing when he's. We have the shot where he's talking to himself, realizing that they're vampires. I thought he kind of noticed they were vampires when Frederick showed his teeth while saying "Leave us."
McAshton's
But-
slow, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Telling Bob to
Oh.
kill his own son.
Kill his own son.
Shakespearean costume party.
Yeah. Do we need to dress up? Dress up. I am an aristocrat.
It's again. It's just I love Richard E. Grant's acting so much. Such a charming actor. Like it's weird that he gets in a. He's never given like an amazing role to flex his chops in, but like it's fun to watch him work with even a bad script. And this isn't necessarily a terrible script. Like it's still he's just having fun with it, and I like to watch him have fun with it.
A question. So Bob brings up how he talked to Rudolph and was in tinfoil. Was that Gregory? Because Gregory left with the amulet. Or the necklace or whatever. you wanna
I'm
call it.
guessing yes then.
Oh, maybe.
Because that's the only way. Well, unless it was dark and it was just off screen, but sure.
Yeah, I guess
Because
that would be
we
the best way to phrase it, because if he thought the knight's helmet was tinfoil, I would have had a problem. So I would rather read it that way. That he's referring to Gregory.
Rudolph and Anna did have foil around their legs and the horse costume, I guess.
They did.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that they're in foil, so it
Well,
makes sense to me that Gregory would have
no.
wrapped himself up.
No, that wouldn't work with the timing then. Because Anna and Rudolph both tell Gregory, no, you stay here when they leave. And the dad interacted with Rudolph and Anna and then the tinfoil thing. So they wouldn't have seen Gregory at that point.
I mean, there's a jump between him talking to Rudolph and Anna and then them in the house. So I think they could have had another interaction with Rudolph in air quotes, but actually being Gregory. It's hard to say. They don't really explain Gregory's absence other than he left. And Bob wouldn't have described his interaction with Rudolph as he was covered in tinfoil. He'd say he was dressed up as a night horse or something.
I don't
The
know.
tinfoil was not the focus of the garb. So either I have a problem with the line, or if he really is just talking about Gregory, and that's just
The Gregory would be an explanation. I think that works, but I would take issue with the dialogue if he's meant to refer to Rudolph and Anna.
Funny enough, this guy, for me, brought this up in last season's recap. If there's a deleted scene of Gregory in tinfoil, that would answer it.
Yeah, that would answer it.
Would still knock the movie for not being there, but
no, but it shows me they had the idea that it was there. So because that goes into the writing of the script then. Like the line doesn't make sense for what was portrayed, but if something was portrayed that made sense with the line, but they didn't change the line because they cut out a scene, then
then it comes on to the director or editor or whoever cut it
studio
out.
mandate, whatever.
They didn't with so much ADR work, they didn't just ADR over a line. Weird.
Yeah. Brinks, you want to go with the point?
Yeah, how smart are rats?
I don't understand the rat. They
I don't
built it
get
up
it.
like
I don't understand.
there's
Is
no
it because
significance to it other than it's a smart
dead
rat.
one? Well, is the dead one like a good luck charm? So then, when they come in contact with a living rat, it's good luck.
I'm gonna be honest. I think
That's the only connection I could find.
It would have been better if the rat was a vampire rat.
Maybe we should see that the
take
cows
it.
laugh, so it makes them smarter or something.
So
And
yeah,
I'm
I
like-
have a issue with this.
I was baffled if it's like, oh, just complete happenstance that this rat is just leading them to a secret area.
I think that's what it is.
Yep.
And
It's
that's
think it's
ludicrous.
happenstance.
big old
I think
ball
it's
of
ludicrous.
inconvenience. I agree.
Yeah,
It's pretty terrible.
it is ludicrous. Yeah, no good.
Also, Rickery
guess-
left a light behind. How lucky.
I did write
So
that
Tony can
down. I'm
see.
like, well, why would he do that? Yeah, no good.
Also, very lucky that Rickery just happens to be drilling down in the right area at the right time
To break the curse.
instead of anywhere else.
I mean,
Or
he
break
did
the
try like 100 other holes.
Yeah, but
Spell.
it's still convenient on the timing.
It is. But at least it wasn't the first hole.
Yeah.
But that
See-
also leads to his vampire tracking sucks that he has to try all those other holes.
It's supposedly be able to track a dead people though, which is established.
Oh. Yep. Sorry, I just realized another note I had.
All right. Do you want to hold on to it?
I can hold on to it right now. It's in this act, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll go next. Question: did we actually get something for Frederick and Gregory to like rekindle? Like they had this
No.
whole back and forth where Father, you're a coward. And
No.
then at the end, good job, Gregory, for calling everybody. Like, what? Huh? I
No,
feel like
there
we
was
missed
nothing.
something.
Nothing between them, but we do have a scene between Frederick and Frida.
Yeah, just saying he's gonna do the call.
No,
And that's
Frida explains to Frederick that she's not a traitor, he's not a treasonous, he's rebellious. There's a distinction. Because Frederick immediately jumps to the worst conclusion, and Frida talks him out of it. So there is a scene for Frederick, but there's nothing necessarily for Gregory.
It's through the use of
Okay.
someone else.
that would fix his assumption of his actions, but not the actual conversations that they had, calling him a coward and all that other jazz.
Yeah, they just kind of skip past that, which sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear that he still loves him, so I don't have
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with him forgiving him and stuff like that. But it's still we're missing out on, good drama potentially.
Yeah, I agree.
So there
Right,
is
alrighty.
my answer to you is there is something, but it's not very deep.
You can bring up the next point, right?
Sure. I will jump to. It's really lucky that Tony just happens to be in the right place at the right time to catch the stone.
Right place, right
My he.
Oh, at the end when
Yeah.
they're on the cliff?
Yeah, at the end of the one on the cliff.
there. Oh, okay. I was like, what point? Yeah, I suppose so. Instead of some random vampire we don't know.
Yeah, and was the wish explicit? I remember Rudolph saying something like "vampires all wish to be human" or something like that. But I don't know if that was explicit enough for Tony to correctly wish.
Well, when he has the stone, doesn't he say "make a wish" or give us what we've
Make
all
the
wanted,
wish.
make the wish? But we don't know Tony's exact wish.
Yeah, my question is, does he know what the vampires were wishing for at that point? Because I don't remember it being super explicit earlier in the film what all
Vampires as a whole, not 100%, but Rudolph does bring it up that through his words, vampires want to be human.
Okay. I feel
So
like
all those other
that's
vampires
something...
that didn't want to be, then they just got screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got screwed by
I
Rudolph.
feel like that's something that should have been more explicit. Like it could have come up in an argument that Tony watched between Frederick and Gregory, for example.
Yeah.
Because it's just mentioned once, and I guess it's not doesn't make it a problem, but I have an issue is that they didn't integrate that more deeply into the script.
Yes. A little connection to earlier, what was brought up between Gregory and Frederick of like their dispute between one another. Do you think it's explained with the use of costume that Gregory is the newest addition to the family, even though he's quote unquote the eldest?
That would make sense to me. He's got more modern garb than they do. That would make sense. And he's more feral. He has less time.
Yeah,
to
he looks like grunge
learn.
80s.
Yeah, really good on the vamps,
Attire.
by the way, for not updating their outfits so people can just spot them out in the crowd. Like they're really good at this for 300 years.
They're aristocrats.
Yeah. It's the sake that Gregory never talks about like these, I like this change of clothes I have. That makes me think he's from that time.
I can buy it. I mean, we don't get a whole history behind how they turned any of them.
Yeah. There's no history of like
I feel like they're a found family, not like an actual family.
yeah, but crud, what's his name? Who's the dad of the Cullens? I'll say Argyle, that's not it.
I keep calling him Mr. Cullen, but
We're failing big time.
I know
Yeah.
hold on, let me look up my Twilight notes. I got this.
Oh, not the Daisy's
it
gonna
says
be pissed.
I feel like it starts with a C.
Carlisle.
Yeah,
I don't have
we
that
don't
with
get
Frederick.
anything like that. Yeah, which would be neat. Maybe in the Little Vampire 2 or the animated sequel.
Great. Got to watch the first animated one. See the difference.
Yeah, I've never seen the animated one, and I don't think the art style looks good at all.
I just looked at the cover of it. I haven't seen any trailer or anything. It reminds me of whatever that newish like Pinocchio cartoon was a couple years back or something.
The Disney one?
No,
Oh,
no,
the non-Disney one, and
the
not the
non-Disney
Guillermo del
skinny
Toro
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that.
it
Yeah.
looks a little like that.
I could see it. Yeah. All right, let's go for writer or Sprinks. Let's go with Sprinks.
Okay. My point I came across that I forgot I had was Tony's been having dreams and visions because of the amulet in his room. Has anyone for the past 300 years been in that room to experience the same thing?
Guess not.
Have people been going like mad having these visions and whatnot of vampires?
Very well could be. It's
Be
not
neat if that were true.
something. It's not something they track on here.
Okay, I'm like, has the house been vacant for that long? Because if people have been crazy talking about vampires, I feel like Rookery or his family would be picking up a pattern that they're all coming from people of this estate.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So
I
I'm
feel
just
like
gonna go with it's been
a vampire
abandoned for 300
hunter,
years.
yeah, would have that figured out.
But then people would have had to renovate it because it looks like it's lived in and didn't have run down. What's not a rundown castle.
It didn't look rundown at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
Fishy.
McAshton renovated it for him.
Or Lord
Makes sense.
McAshton.
Yeah. Who knows? They don't explore that. They also don't explore the depths of the wish. We kind of touched on it, but they are now humans. They have money, I guess, because now they bought a house. And they didn't remember them until a whistle, but then the rest of the
Does it-
family also heard it. So
Does
then
it
I don't know what
state how much time has passed? It's
it
just
does not state
fade
it
to
other
black.
than he doesn't look older.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like a genie wish, and part of it wasn't being specific that they lost their memory.
I don't even get why they added that.
I don't get why they wouldn't recognize him. I'm
I
still
feel like
that.
that's probably something in the book, and this is how they adapted it to the screen. But it's not. Doesn't feel
It's
one
not
to one.
adapted well. Is the problem?
I haven't read the book.
If it is in the book this way, it's not adapted well. Because maybe they do specify that the wish is magical or something, or that the whistle is magical.
Maybe, but the way it's depicted, I don't like it. Get rid of it. Just have them know and recognize them, and then they can look at each other and smile. That's all we need.
Yeah, that would be cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, what you do is you age the kids up a little bit. So, like, it's been a few years. Maybe, like, Tony has a different hairstyle. And so it's not an immediate recognition. So that's why he does the whistle. So you can still keep the whistle in to as a piece of recognition. And then
how cute would it be? How cute would it be if it was a little up and it was like Halloween, and Tony went as a vampire and he bumps into Rudolph who didn't dress up?
You know what? I'd buy that. Yeah.
I'm not really for them aging thing if they remember, because I feel like they would seek him out as humans.
Well, I mean,
If
like,
they
it would
retain
take
their
time
memory.
to move like to this location where they would want to be. So maybe it took them a few years to accumulate that money or whatever. Unless, you know, now that you met it up, now I'm imagining that they have the money prior to get this, which means I like to imagine one of them is working nighttime jobs.
Very well could be.
Be something.
Wish is very vague. We just know they're not vampires anymore.
Yeah.
That is all
Funny
we know.
enough, I think I still like this more than the Hawkeye whistle
Hawkeye whistle.
from Yelena to get Yelena not to kill him.
Oh, I'm like, I
I don't even
completely
remember
forgot
that.
what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess I blocked it out.
Yeah. It was still very terrible, but
Even though the Hawkeye show wasn't too bad.
No, it was okay. When the tomb's broken, and I guess lifts the curse, we see inside Elizabeth and Uncle Vaughn. I didn't know his name until now with my notes. How was Uncle Vaughn dead?
He's got no stake in this, just to tell you that much.
Yeah, but Elizabeth does.
I guess vampires can just check out whenever they want.
I don't know, he gets
Okay.
like surrounded by the mob.
By a mob, and that's it. But he's not like beheaded or
Maybe
staked.
they drowned
or...
him in holy water. I have no idea. He didn't get
Okay,
staked.
I know. I just found it a
Waterboarding
weird detail that he
vampire
doesn't
in
have a
holy
stake.
water. I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good idea.
There you go. That's a freebie.
I just don't understand why they didn't stake him.
I agree. It seems like an easy thing for them to have just implemented.
He's more of a vampire than she was. I mean, at that point, they're both vampires, but
He's longer. Yeah, he was a vampire for longer. And I guess it's established in this one that the vampires don't like disintegrate or disappear.
no.
Getting staked. There's that.
Yeah, it's odd. Another odd thing, don't know if it's a Scottish thing, but 1 hour, 17 minutes, 48, when Rickery is in the hallway upstairs trying to get Tony by breaking into the house, there's just a fire hose on the wall in the hallway.
Yep.
Is that common? Is that a thing? It looks very out of place, but I don't know if that's just my American eyes.
Which place?
In their house, when Rickery's upstairs before he goes to Tony's room to break down the door, he's in the hallway and there's just a whole fire hose.
It's more common.
I think so for a building of that size.
It's more common also in like old houses that weren't built with those as a function. Like they don't have like sprinklers. So like it's so it's obvious that those were secondary additions that later during house renovations.
Let's go. Actually, how are your notes looking, fellas?
Coming to the end, but I still got a couple.
I got a few. Yeah. I'll do a funny one, which is I love the parents' reactions to all the vampires landing around the car, and it's like, "Hi, we were invited," or something to that effect. It is pretty funny.
Yeah, Bob trying to be rational and calm in the situation.
Yes, Lita said they were fine, so
We're friends. Yeah, that is amusing how they did it. And these vampires are more animalistic than our established vampires. Yes, which is interesting. Let's see, what was I gonna do? Oh yeah, the blimp that's tied to the truck. Did I miss something? Where did it come from?
Yeah, I have no idea. My best faith interpretation is that wasn't shown as the blimp might be tied to the sign they crashed into, but it just comes out of nowhere. I don't.
Is that what it was?
I think it's where it's supposed to be connected.
Rudolph grabbed it and tied it to the truck.
Yeah, but I mean that would have been shown, right?
I feel like it should.
Oh, I thought the blimp. I thought there was a line from the sign earlier on when they're driving into town, and that line is connected to the blimp because the dad brings it up.
Okay, yeah. If it's set up, then I
don't when crashing in, it got connected.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's lucky that it got snagged in that way, but
okay.
Huh.
I think that's how it is, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't remember if there is a line connected to it. But if you say there is springs, then I don't really have an issue.
Yeah, I guess I don't either.
Okay, I just remember seeing the lines by the sign, and then the blimp's brought up. So
I mean, the sign on the blimp. I remember that. I
No,
remember
on the ground.
sign on the ground.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess just something I have to look at when I see it again. Smokes, you can go.
Let's see. A weird camera thing, I guess, for me. At 1 hour 20:05, Tony's in Rookery's truck, which I realize is also an American car because the steering wheel is on the opposite side of what every other car is. But when it's focused on Tony, I think it's when they're stopped and looking at the cows. When it's on Tony, the camera's shaking, like the car is still vibrating and making movements. And then it goes to Rookery and the camera's stationary. So I saw that as an inconsistency with the car of what's being portrayed versus that Tony's scared and shaky because of his feelings and Rookery's calm because of the situation at hand or something.
I guess I can agree with that.
Yeah, I would also agree. That would be an inconsistency on the visual side of things. The way I would want to try and explain it away to play devil's advocate would be is just that Rookery is like, the idea is he's stationary because he's much bigger, he's very threatening. That's would be the devil's advocate angle I would start to take, but I probably also lean that it's an inconsistency.
Yes. Also not sure if it was touched on already, but vampire cows aren't affected by the lights.
It was not brought up, but good observation. They indeed are not. So why don't the cows get money and a house they can move into? Why do they get stuck in the stable?
I don't know. They lost their memory. Probably.
What's that?
I mean, if they're still in Scotland, well, no, time passed, but they're still in Scotland. Do you think they just woke up in the cemetery?
The cows?
Human?
Or the
No,
the
human.
human
Because the cows wound up back in the barn.
I don't know how it works. I have no idea how it works. We just see them get beamed up in smoke and then boom, they bought a place.
Yeah. I'm just going with the cows are back in the barn, which is their home. And
Yeah,
that
but I don't
it's not
think the
like
cemetery was their home when they were humans. That was their home when they were
They
vampires.
would have been in England or whatever the movie started with, or that cliff, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be weird if it's like a Thanos blip situation where they just spawn in and someone's already living in the house that they lived in, or whatever. Or maybe it's not even their home. Maybe it's like
And
I don't
demolished
know,
by now.
a grocery store.
Yeah. Very well could be. But I don't know. It's so weird because they don't remember being vampires until the whistle. At least that's what it looks like. Because they don't recognize them.
Yeah.
Eh. They didn't do
I don't know.
anything.
Maybe it's in the book.
Maybe. Let's see. I'm running thin. The smoke effect where they just reversed the footage was okay.
It's okay.
It's obvious what they were doing, but I think mixed with the red lighting and stuff, it looks pretty decent to me. Visually speaking, not application. Writer.
So, how did Tony and Rudolph make it to the house before Rookery did? Because they didn't fly. Because they were underground.
I mean, why couldn't they just get out of the ground?
Well, they'd have to go back the way they came. They would have to come out of the McAsters, and by that point, since we established that McAsters is not far from where Tony lives, Rookery could have easily beaten them there.
They could have flown through the drill hole. Pretty big
Then
drill.
Rookery would have seen them leave, which would have been a scene in of itself.
Could have flown through a different drill hole.
Were there any other established drill holes in that cave?
Not established in that cave, but definitely within the area of that cave.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, they teleported. It's reasonable.
And it comes
There's
down to, is the car faster than them flying? And I don't know if it is.
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
You know, I wouldn't say that. I'm not saying they're faster than when they're flying, but they don't. They're not flying immediately, so the Rookery has a lot more time.
So we don't know how far it is from the cemetery. If it's a 20-minute drive or something, then I could buy them walking out of the crypt and flying back. But if it's something short, like a little 5-minute drive, then yeah, I'd say he'd beat them there.
Well, I'm going with more of a 5 minute drive thing because Tony was there to save the vampire family earlier in the film, having walked from his house.
So weird, because I think that's just a teleporting child in that scene.
No, what I'm saying is that they teleported again here. This might not be egregious, but it still definitely falls under purview of teleportation.
I'm just gonna leave it as okay because it's not established the range. For me, that's where I'm gonna leave it.
I'm also at a unsure because of the speed of flight.
But the first example, he definitely teleported to the cemetery.
Oh yeah. By the way, I pulled it up. I was incorrect about the blimp.
About the sign?
Yep.
Okay. So it just
So
appears on the
just
truck. Then.
teleported onto the truck.
You're both right. It just appears.
Okay. That.
Okay. Then
Yeah, that's still a problem.
yeah, it's an issue. I assume Rudolph fetched it and tied it on there, but I feel like they would show that, and it just wouldn't be there.
And why would he? Like, he's not trying to save
I
the
know.
vampire hunter.
Why would he save him? Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah. Something else that's not good is the fake tears on Tony crying.
Were there fake tears?
Yes. Those are not real.
The,
They're very globbed.
I'd have to see it again. I don't remember seeing fake tears.
A tear would be a line from the tear duct on the side of the eye down the nose, whereas the one I think on Tony's right eye goes from like the middle of his eye to the tear duct. It's way too wide, which shows me that someone applied it to him.
I mean, they have the like cry sticks, right, that you apply under your eye. That's, I don't know. I'd have to see the scene again because it doesn't really stand out to me in my head.
Yeah, look like fake tears to me.
Writer?
Just going through my notes right now. I think my last one is probably it's lucky that like Rookery just doesn't take the stone from Tony while in the mansion. He takes him with him instead. Like Tony could literally do nothing
Tony,
to stop him.
you're gonna have to fight me.
Yeah. I don't understand why Rookery just didn't knock him over and just take it. Like, I mean, would be far more in character for him to do. He just picks him up and takes him with him in the car, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. But I would say having that emergency like airbag landing is pretty cool.
Yeah. That was very Mission Impossible gadgetry stuff.
He's a professional. But only when it matters.
Yeah. So, I in Rookery being just a comic book villain, I was like, here I come, after he busts through the door. Like, wasting
Here's
more
Johnny.
time. Like, he's not really, he doesn't feel committed, I guess, is what that makes it feel like.
Yeah, and he keeps letting Tony Oh my gosh! Even after all this, Tony, uh, he lets him play with the lights in his car, and just
Yeah.
why does he put the amulet on the dashboard
Why is
when he's
Tony?
like,
Why is Tony even put in the front seat? Why doesn't he have a special place to hold a prisoner or something? You know, I would buy
once he
that.
has
Because
it
he's
out, why doesn't he just kick
well,
him out of the car?
well,
Yeah.
the groundskeeper didn't interact with Rookery, so Rookery could still think the groundskeeper is being kept in his little morgue
Yeah,
area.
yeah. I'm not viewing that because I don't think Rookery would put the kid in the morgue little thing. But like, if he had like a little cell somewhere on there, I would completely buy that because he can catch people
Yeah.
or small
My little
vampires.
nitpick is putting the amulet on the dash still within arm's reach of Tony, rather than
Yeah,
pocketing it,
yeah. Just
because
put
that
him-
brings up when he turns the lights off for Rudolph to get Tony out of the um, sunroof. Tony, I was thinking like Tony grabs it beforehand and like takes it out, so Rookery thinks he has it, but it's not in there. It's the mouse. Even if the lights were turned off first and Rudolph's hand came in, I think Tony would have just grabbed it and then gone with Rudolph. Like no pause.
Yeah,
But if it was in Rookery's like in his pocket or something, then it would be a lot harder.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Which
I
is why
agree
he
with
put it on
that.
the dashboard so the movie could happen.
I also don't know why he had the amulet thing, and he has the necklace that he talks to Lord McAshton about, and he goes, "Oh, you know, this is mine. It's just like the other." Why doesn't he just put it in his? I feel like that would
You
give him
can.
strength or power or something.
Well, it's to send the vampires to hell. So I don't know if he gets granted additional abilities than just
Yeah, at
damning
Crimson,
them.
he's being chased by 5 vampire cows and a kid.
Yeah,
I feel like he would do it.
probably. But he's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, he'd make some stupid joke too. He'd be like, "This steak's gonna be well done," like sending the cows to hell or something.
Time to tenderize the meat, boys.
Yeah. He already asked the Lord, "How do you like your steaks?"
Yeah. In vampires. Writer, you have anything
nothing that I
left?
think we haven't covered. I do like the. It's just more on, I guess, the final scene when everybody's gathering around. I like that Frederick is in the middle of apologizing to everyone when the boys show up. But again, it's just more of me wishing that there was more because we'd be sure to get the reactions from all the other vampires there. Um, again, I like that Tony's family is kind of incorporated. Like the film doesn't forget them, and that continues even in this scene when they're happy to see their son and like step aside for the vampires to do their thing before they're interrupted again. So
Mhm.
just some quick notes, I guess, because I'm pretty much out.
Yeah. So by the end, Rookery is dead. We get no confirmation that he survived the fall, and McAshton might have been turned into a vampire and then got whisked away. I don't really understand. They didn't put closure on that.
Well, this is the first of 3 movies, I'm sure.
Oh, it's like Serenity. Didn't make the money back, so just axed the future projects. I see.
Maybe.
I found nothing of the sort. Yeah, I guess I'm out as well. Sprinks, are you out, or you got a few left?
I'm also out. Nothing left.
Alrighty. Then that concludes the Little Vampire and our introduction into this spooky season, I guess, however we want to call it. Well,
Fall season.
yeah, that's probably more appropriate. Fall season. Let's jump into our rating summary section. And we shall start with Brinks.
Oh boy. All right. What to start? I'll start with my objective. This movie, I think the adult actors do very well. I think Frederick and Rita with Richard E. Grant. I think their acting's very good. I think the parents' acting's very good. Lord McCashton's acting's okay. Rookery's acting, I think, is good for his character of what he has. All the adults have good acting. I
Teacher.
think the vampire kids have okay acting, and they're fine. I think the bullies or whatever. I think Tony is terrible acting. I don't think it's great. Then again, this might be his first thing he ever did, or his introduction kind of who he is. Possibly breakout role. I think Stuart Little actually might be more classified as that, but I just think his acting's really bad. So acting overall is fine. Being that Tony's the main character and he's the worst and most screen time. I question if the title The Little Vampire is about Rudolph, because Tony's never a vampire.
He
So
dresses up as a vampire, though.
true for one scene. That doesn't fall into subjective or objective at all. It's just something to point out. The editing is fine, but there are questionable bits and bits that are more questionable that are actually just problems, like cutting to shots of a sunrise when still showing established before and afterhand that it's still night in the scene. So those are problems. The cinematography is all okay. There are some questionable bits, again, of understanding why something was shot that way, like the truck scene. I feel like there was another one that I'm blanking on, but overall that's okay. The writing is, I'd say, below average. I guess I can say it's passable. It's in sense, but it feels a little choppy with how they're trying to go about a thing. And I don't think the pacing feels rushed, but it feels clanky. It feels very 1-to-1 to 1-to-1 rather than smooth. And I'm not going to blame that on transitional usages, because there's a couple transitions that I think are okay. Very basic though, but I think that just falls into it feeling clunky. And I think this is a movie that maybe a book adaptation, because it's coming from a book, could have used another half hour to really flow better with its story of what's going, rather than focusing a lot on a cow chase scene in a car or the exposition dump of the McCashton backstory with Elizabeth and stuff like that. I think it could have been flown a lot better if it was edited, written that way situation. The best thing, I think, with what Crimson said, I think a second best thing would be sets and locations. I think the buildings look good, the interior shots look good. I think all what they had on hand, good. It doesn't look like set design. Well, it doesn't look like made sets. That's what I mean. But the layouts and everything, I think, are good to give the establishment of where we're at for the landscape and tone. And then following suit, the costumes. I think costumes of the vampire look really good. And then the makeup with that to go and enhance their looks, I think, are very good. I am objectively putting this at a 4.5. I think there's more bad than good. The worst thing about the movie is the ADR work. It's absolutely heinous, and unfortunately, it's not just one scene; it's throughout the film. So that's like the big hit for me of a film technique for the film that's just cheap to see. There's also some continuity errors and situations like that we brought up. Subjectively, I think when I was younger, this would have been a lot better, but I have not seen it in such a long time that unfortunately I don't remember a lot of this movie. And I think it would fall in the camp of like Scooby-Doo, where I've seen that movie more frequently, even though I saw it a lot when I was a kid, of the James Gunn ones, that over time I'm like, I can still remember and understand and like get the sense of the feeling that I had. But this movie has just been so long, and my age now kind of thing, it's like been such a gap that my score is not what I think little 10-year-old Sprinks would say. I have this subjectively at a 4. I don't think it's terrible or unwatchable by any means. I just don't think it's as entertaining as it could be. And I think the main blame for that for me is probably the clunkiness of it. I think it was smoother and the jokes wouldn't feel very haphazardly placed, or a scene feel fixated on the joke, like the whole tissue sniffing, like I don't smell anything. I kind of feel like the majority of that scene is just for that joke rather than explaining more of where Tony's been and his friends he's made with Rudolph's and all that. So that's where that lands for me.
All right, and just so it's out there, Jerry Maguire was his first film,
I
then
completely forgot
Doctor
he was in Jerry
Doodle,
Maguire.
and then Stuart Little, then Little Vampire. It was his fourth one.
Oh wow,
Right.
Stuart Little was in the 90s.
It was 99.
Oh wow,
I was kind of surprised by that too.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
God, we're old.
Yeah, I thought maybe like 2002 or something. is
Holy
what I was
crap.
thinking.
Stuart Little was before this, and that had way better CGI than this movie.
Probably also had a bigger budget.
We're also forgetting Star Wars.
Also
in
based off a
1999.
kid's book. All right, let's go with writer next. I'll go last.
All right, I'll do my subjective first because that's the one that I was kind of open about for a lot of this. So I had started at like a 3.5. I definitely moved up over the course of the film, and I think whenever I was talking about it, I think I have a lot more appreciation for the. I guess I sing a lot of Richard E. Grant. I really love the character. I really love the actor who plays him. And that's a lot of subjective points for me, like just personally, because he's just entertaining and fun to watch. But that goes for most of the adults in this film. I think a lot of the adults do a great job, and I find myself enjoying myself more than I did hating it. That being said, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch this all that often. And it's not exactly my kind of movie that I go in for typically, but I didn't hate it. So I was probably at a 3.5. I've since been bouncing between a 4.5 and a 5. I think I'll settle on a 5 as my subjective. I still enjoy it a lot, or I still enjoyed it. Just, I guess, not to the degree that I hoped, I guess, going in for another Richard E. Grant project. Objectively, can echo a lot of things that Spring said, I think sometimes. The writing is okay at the best of times. It's got its moments, it's got its bits of humor that it loads in there, it's got its one-liners. I think the most consistent character is probably Tony. I'll have a few questions with him. There's some plotting issues and plot armor that's related to him as well. So he's not unscathed from the film. I think his parents are extremely well done. I don't really have any issues with his parents. I do take some issues with the vampire hunter. I have a lot of issues with him. I have a lot of issues with the grave owner. Lord McAshton, we weren't really enough with him to get a full grasp of his character, but it's kind of teeters on absurd that he goes to his when he knows his son is alive, he goes to his father to put down his own son and expects a normal reaction. So that for me is a hard to swallow as far as a character goes. Richard E. Grant, Frederick, is supposedly very old, and he's a complete idiot, and he lost like skills over the course as those years went on. And even though these vampires aren't exactly superhuman, even though they have super hearing and can fly, it was a little too much for me to buy. So I think his character definitely didn't really make it out of this unscathed. Rudolph, I think, is mostly okay. I do have the one nick towards him on maybe with regard to the amulet, but I think Crimson talked me out of that. The plot and world building as the interconnects with the characters are more messy than they are well done. I don't think there's anything as egregious as character assassination outside of maybe the Grant and the vampire hunter. And with holes and everything else, it's kind of hard to see this getting above a 5 for me. So I've been bouncing between a 4 and a 5, and I think I've landed on a 4, being the lowest of my average ratings.
Alrighty. Well, I shall jump in with my subjective, the most polarizing number I would imagine out of this. This is a heavy nostalgia-based film. I quite enjoy it. The poop joke aside, I find enjoyment in a lot of it. And reminds me of a simpler time. I've decided an 8.5 subjective. I like it a lot. Objectively, my score lowered. Substantially, actually. Quite a lot. Might be the biggest jump going into the podcast.
Oh,
I had this at a 7 going into it. It is no longer a 7. I brought up continuity errors, crazy amounts of coincidences, and a couple instances of plot armor for Tony. Not his name. There we go. And I think its strengths are just the feeling of the world, and a lot of that goes into the what strengths of the set locations, set design, because even like the crypts that they go into look good, very believable, feels like it's in the world that they're in. The paintings of these fictional characters feel authentic. The costumes, the world just feels authentic, including the cows. I think they did a good job with that, and it really buys into the immersion part of it. In terms of the writing, the plot kind of sucks. Things happen just because they happen, and it dumbs down characters for certain scenarios and teleports characters for certain scenarios, which both you guys have already talked about, so I'm not going to dive too much into. The ADR I picked up here and there, but I didn't see it everywhere. But thinking on it through the podcast, it did appear more than I thought it did. The CGI I think is acceptable for the time. Not bad, not good, just middle of the road, fine. And I agree with Sprinks. I think all the actors were fine to good, except for Tony, the main character. I think he wasn't very good. So I land at a 4.5 with Sprinks. Went down 2.5 points. I think that might be the biggest change.
Fancy that?
and we all have our nostalgia of like holes, I guess.
Yeah. So anything else before Ryder takes us out?
Nothing comes
No.
to mind. Otherwise, this is the start of a new season.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween. And happy fall, I guess. All right. Well, thank you, audience, for listening, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, Castbox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Podcasts, and Samsung, and you happen to be in our visual side of things, be it YouTube or Rumble. Thank you for watching there, and please enjoy our PG slideshow. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. And as always, I've been a geeky writer,
Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Springs.
and we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.